10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening, wrestling fans, and welcome to the Wrestle Talk Podcast. For the next 2 hours, we will bring you the latest pro wrestling news, in-depth analysis of all your favorite promotions from across the globe, and much, much more. We will also bring you exclusive interviews with the greatest professional wrestling personalities on the local, national, and international levels. If you want to follow the Wrestle Talk Podcast, check us out online at www.wrestletalkpodcast.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. And now, it's time for the reigning, defending, undisputed leader in pro wrestling podcast, the Wrestle Talk Podcast.
Good evening, wrestling fans, and welcome to the Wrestle Talk Podcast, episode number 513. See you at ringside. We are so excited tonight. We are going to have John Cosper and Dean Hill on, and they're going to be talking about the book, See You at Ringside, an autobiography of Dean Hill. He was an officer back where he's from, and he was an OVW announcer as well as several other companies he announced for, and he's called some of the biggest matches. So I can't wait for that, let me tell you. And we got a couple surprises along the way, some big announcements coming, and it's going to be a great night. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun. But, as always, I am not here by myself, ladies and gentlemen. So let me get my co-host in here. He is the young lion with the old soul, the one and only Gabriel Arsene.
What's happening, Wrestle Talk Podcast family? I really need some music or something, man. I swear. Just a music cue. I don't even need it to be like a full entrance. I just need something to identify with the young lion with the old soul. But Hardcore Hoss, we're back here again, episode 513.
I know it. We are just flying through these episodes, I tell you. It's hard to believe that it's episode 513. Doesn't seem like that long ago we were on episode 500. Doesn't seem like that long ago we were on episode 200. I mean, I tell you, it's just one right after the other. And we just keep getting bigger and bigger and better as we go.
Well, it's like they say, Hardcore Hoss. Time flies when you're having fun. And when we get to do this show, we have lots of fun. We talk a lot about World of Professional Wrestling. Even in terms of time flying with the wrestling happening right now, dude. I mean, it feels like yesterday we were talking about WrestleMania 40, and we're up to 42 now.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, Gabe, you were just showing your belt there a second ago from the FWWC.
I was going to say, I wanted to cue you up for this, actually. So for the uninitiated, hold on, before you put this on camera, for the uninitiated, here, how do we go to the solo view on you? So for the uninitiated, if you want to point out that belt in the background right there, so this is the current FWWC Hardcore Champion that our fantastic Hardcore Hoss has been retaining for the past, how long is it now?
2 years.
2 years, all right.
However,
I want to say he's catching up to Roman Reigns in numbers. This is the classic title belt. So
this one is not the current belt.
Exactly. So this is what we had to bring up here, folks. So shout out to Will Bromlow. Is that how it's called? I forget. But our one and only ace of the FWWC. He is the one who provided us with that last belt that you see here. And he has provided us with, if you'd like to do us the honors, let's see if we can actually, there it is. See if we can get something here in the background.
Brand new FWWC Hardcore Championship. Just arrived in my hands. yesterday. Thank you for the new title, Will.
Can we get a quick zoom in on that real quick? Can we get one more quick show of that? Just look at that. Look at that, man. Double plated. It's like silver. He sketched out that whole thing himself. And then that's actual leather too. It's studded, right? Show everybody the ends of it.
It is studded. It's studded. Is real leather. It's not pleather. It's
if we can take a moment
heavy,
here,
let me tell you.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're wearing it well, huh? We can take a moment here. Will, you're gonna have to do something here for our Warriors Heart Championship, because I love the way that it's all scuffed up, but this thing's had a number happening to it. All right, Gabriel Arsene needs to carry something as clean as that.
So
thank you, man. Look at that. And he's worked on all of our other belts too. Like the only other belt he hasn't worked on was the World Heavyweight, because that one's an actual replica. But he fixed our tag titles.
He's actually working on the international title right now as well. So
it's just the Haas
process of replacing that one. So
well, let's hope that Warriors Championship has something.
These are the type things you get when you win a championship in the FWWC. But we'll talk about the FWWC a little more later.
We got a lot coming up, that's for sure. But I just wanted to show that off because that thing is awesome. That is a whole thing and a half there, man. But we got a lot to cover here in the Wrestle Talk podcast. But I think we got a little bit of things we got to get out of the way here first. Some prerequisites, if you will.
Definitely. Shout out to Assad out there, checking in. Jackson checking in tonight. Shout out to him as well. And Sister Haas checking in. So, shout out to all of them. But, as always, we have to do the sponsors as always, because we would not be here without the sponsors as well as our great fans. Thank you to each and every one of you. Keep checking in. Be sure to share the program, like the program. You can send us some stars through Facebook if you like. So we definitely appreciate all the support that you give us. But use the hashtags WTP, Let's Talk Wrestling, and just engage with us. We always love to show your comments. But let's go ahead and run through those lovely sponsors that we have, because, they help pay our bills and everything.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following. Paid for by the following.
Thank you there, Lord Alfred Hayes. So we want to thank Retro Zone, Painter's Dream Productions. That's the one and only Big Daddy P. He'll be checking in a little bit later. We have the Independent St. Louis Hall of Fame on board, where our one and only Luke Skywalker Roberts will be inducted into the Independent St. Louis Hall of Fame. Definitely looking forward to that. Interstate 70 Sports Media, Jeremy Karp and all the guys over there. Little Papa's Designs, they're where you get the Wrestle Talk podcast tumbler. If you don't have one, shame on you. You definitely need to get one. Be sure to hit up a member of the Wrestle Talk podcast. We will be more than happy to get you set up with one. And as we were already speaking of, the FWWC. That's right. The world's premier fantasy wrestling group. So it's just a pleasure to have all of them on board, and thank you to each one of them. We also have our fan sponsorship. That's a new thing now. Susie Haas is our only fan sponsor so far, but if you want to be a fan sponsor, hit one of us up, and we'll be more than happy to talk to you about that, bring you in on that. And as I say, you can be sure to send us some stars on Facebook and to help support us, and just like, share, and hashtag WTP, hashtag Let's Talk Wrestling. Anything I missed there, Gabe?
I don't think so, but I think we're reaching the part in the program that a lot of people tend to dread, but is a necessity here in the Wrestle Talk podcast. Something to remind us all to have fun, but also, the important things in life. As residents of the red, white, and blue, the U.S. of A., it is that time once again, ladies and gentlemen. We respectfully ask you to remove your hats if you're wearing them, place your hands over your hearts, and we'd like to take this opportunity to pay tribute to the greatest country on God's green earth. That is America. As always, brings a tear to your eye and blood to your ears. If everything smells like copper, you might want to call the hospital. But with that taken care of, was there anything else we were missing, Haas? I think we've covered most of it. We got all of our sponsors. We got the ear-piercing sound qualities of Roseanne Barr.
Yeah, okay, turn that off.
Please turn it off.
Yeah, I think we just about got it. I know there is supposed to be something coming up, but we are still waiting for a very special guest to pop in for that. He should be here any time now. I'm trying to find out for sure, but so let's go ahead, I guess, and we'll go ahead and cue up that High Spots music, and we will get into that. And then just as soon as he pops in, we will bring him in for that very, very special announcement. So let's go ahead and throw it over for High Spots to DJ Money.
Mic check. Yeah. All right. Wrestle Talk Podcast. DJ Money. Yeah. Let's go. Welcome to High Spots, where we pop news like lamb chops. We talk shop, coming through the screens of a laptop and non-stop like a runner speeches of blacktop. We hit hard like chair shots and backdrops like a clock flash, look like a barely fly. Now that's hard. We up to speed while they stay slow. Wrestle Talk Podcast. Now they know we about to start the show.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there is plenty in here to talk about. So much going on in the world of professional wrestling. And so let's see if this randomizer is going to play nice with us tonight. What
we got a lot of questions here tonight, too. I was going to say, we're not just covering WWE. I know WrestleMania is around the corner, but a lot happening in the world of professional wrestling. I know I say that a lot, but it's only because wrestling gives us a lot.
All right, so let's go ahead and cue up this randomizer here real quick. And the first question. All right, we got Mariah May going on here. So let's see, what is the question about? Oops. The question just disappeared. Okay, so the first question, though, the question disappeared on me. All right, we come back to that one. let's see what else can it bring up. Unless you have the question there, Gabe.
I might have to find it. We have it written down somewhere, but
yeah, let's see what else it can bring up here.
Ooh, this is a good one.
Hopefully this one won't disappear on us. I know it's here. And we started off so well, too.
I know. Technology is never our friends, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, I know that the question on this one was how many
I'm pretty sure I know this one, actually. We might not have the actual thing present, but
yeah,
if we want to like cut it back to us real quick. So for the uninitiated, MLW Battle Riot 7 has just occurred. And the question was, what did we think of the event? How many super kicks would we rate it? I wasn't sure if you actually caught the event, Haas. Were you able to? Because if not,
honestly, no, I have not caught that yet.
Sir. So I think as the resident MLW fanboy, I probably have to take the lead here. So if you wouldn't mind me taking the lead on this one, Haas?
Feel free. Be my guest, sir.
For those who haven't caught it, please watch MLW Battle Riot while it is still available and free. I cannot sing this show's praises enough. It was so much fun, and it was the pleasantest of surprises. So, because I had a very long day at work, I had gotten home, but it was a good day. You know, I hit quota, I sold my stuff. Next thing I know, I get the notification, Battle Riot 7's on. I'm like, well, alrighty then. And I proceed to post on my Instagram about it. I mentioned first I get to interview Joe Dombrowski. He saw it and reposted it. Joe, always thinking about you. Loved having you on the show. But the event itself was phenomenal. Even beyond the titular match itself, Battle Riot was phenomenal. Plenty of surprises. A lot of people showing up. I'll try my best to try and keep some of them a little under wraps for those who didn't get a chance to see it. But the undercard was amazing. I mean, you know, the CMLL talent that they had on Showcase there was phenomenal. And shock of all shocks with the debuting of some Joshi stars on the card for MLW and showing that their women's division is stronger than ever. I actually have this written down here, I believe. There we go. All righty. Shoko Nakajima, that's what I was looking for. You'd think as the resident New Japan guy, I would remember all these Japanese wrestlers. Assad, thank you very much for agreeing with me. But yes, the shocking upset of Shoko Nakajima defeating Delmi Exo for the World Women's Featherweight Champion. I was all about it. It was so much fun. If you're going to watch any match from that show, watch that one. Shoko is a phenomenal talent. I've only ever seen her, but I saw one promo, and it was enough to sell me on her. She is the biggest kaiju. She is not small. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. But Atlantis Jr., Atlantis himself, we had the classics, Ultimo Guerrero, Star Jr., Barbaro Cavernario, Magnus in a trios action. We had Janai Kai versus Himawari. And the Templario, Hechicero, Esfinge, just from top to bottom, it was an amazing card. And I think beyond all that, I love seeing how well MLW has thrived, you know, because they actually bumped their arena up. So they had sold out and more people wanted to see the show. So they were able to move to a bigger venue. The only strike against it that I can really throw out there, and this is constructive criticism because I love you guys. And I want you to know that I love you in spite of all this. So I want to see you do better because I know you can do better. The first half of the show, there was a bit of a technical issue on our end. We couldn't really hear a lot of the dialogue. The microphone was having issues. I think the crowd was like almost muted at one point. But with the return of Alex Hammerstone, that crowd was so you really didn't even need to hear it. But overall, I know I'm biased here, but Battle Riot 7, do yourself a favor, watch it, 4 stars, check it out. But yeah, so Haas, not to put you on the spot here, but what's your excuse, sir? It's free on YouTube.
You know, honestly, I just have not gotten around to watching it. I've just There's been so much stuff going on that just really haven't had a chance to get there yet. But I do plan on watching it, after talking to Joe Dombrowski when we had him on here and everything. I definitely want to see it. I just haven't got around to it yet. But I do want to see it. I've heard great things.
He didn't come on the show for nothing. He didn't advertise that show for nothing. What are you doing?
I have heard great things about it, though. So, but yes, definitely, I do want to see it and look forward to seeing it.
If I can take the opportunity here too, the unthinkable Matt Riddle, he didn't come in at number 1, but I can't even spoil what happens because it's so epic, the comeback that this man made. But the only man ever to win consecutive battle riots, and the only man in MLW history to not only enter with the title on the line in a 40-man battle royal, walking away still champion. That is incredible. So, I mean, the real question is, after beating, the likes of Alex Kane, Satoshi Kojima, and just about everybody in the MLW roster, who is left to take the championship from Matt Riddle is the real question. Who can conquer the King of Bros?
He has been on a roll from what I have seen. Because I have been checking out a little bit here and there. I mean, I won't say I've been watching religiously, but I have been checking it out. And from what I've seen, he has been on a roll. And so it's hard to say who could possibly be the one to beat him. So I'm definitely interested to see how much longer he keeps going with that title and, where everything goes. But, Assad says he's going to watch it again after this show. He thought it was an absolute great pay-per-view himself. So looking forwards to getting a chance to sit down and watch it. But shall we see what else is in the thing? In the randomizer tonight?
We ready to roll or what?
Let's do it. All right. So let's see here.
Ooh, God, we got to talk about this now, don't we?
So we have a question about Hook, and I do know that one is in there. I saw that. With Hook's recent injury on Dynamite, is AEW too much of a health risk for wrestlers to stay in? Ooh, that seems like a loaded question to me.
Well, then it seems like you can start us off on this, Haas. What do you think? I mean, I know you've been keeping up kind of a little bit with AEW, but
there has been a lot of risk taken in AEW.
A lot.
And things just keep getting higher and higher when it comes to the risks going on. And honestly, I don't know how much, if you've heard about them or not, but, here recently, I can't think of all their names, but there have been 2 or 3 wrestlers recently, not in AEW or WWE, of course, but I've heard of wrestlers dying in the ring recently, and it seems to be becoming more prevalent. And part of it, I know one of them that just recently died. He died of a heart attack. But it makes me wonder, a lot of these guys, they're risking more and more and more. And the more they seem to risk, I'm wondering if maybe it's not getting too much for them, not just AEW, but if they're not seeing this stuff that goes on, such as AEW, the stuff that the Hardy Boys diving off the top of stuff and all that type stuff going on. And they're saying, okay, I need to take this to the next level myself. So, they're trying it in the indies, and they're starting to get injured more over it. That's what I wonder anyway. But personally, I think people are taking more risks, and they're just seem to get crazier and crazier with the risks. I don't know so much that it's your promoters doing it. I don't think it's I don't know that it's AEW themselves saying, hey, I want you to do this, as much as it is, though, the wrestlers themselves saying, I want to do this. So I'm hoping that things will kind of even out a bit. But what's your thoughts, Gabe? Sorry, I'm trying to do two things here at once.
You're fine, man. I don't like that I have to answer this question. Namely just because it seems like every single week we got something about AEW, and I don't want to pile on, but this is like the worst example so far. First we get the whole Real Glass thing the fact that we had Jack Perry, think about how long ago it was when Jack Perry and CM Punk fought each other. Okay. And then think about the intervening time between people who got hurt, whether it's, AR Fox breaking something or one of the Lucha Bros getting injured. Just that spot. Last week we were talking about that spot that Moxley took. And then, especially for Hook, he's how young? And this is probably one of the worst things that's ever happened in terms of a bump that we saw live on TV. And you have to ask yourself, what are the precautions that they're putting in place to avoid something like this? I don't want to pile onto AEW. I want to see them thrive. But when shit like this happens, it's really hard to defend their style of wrestling when this is the end result. I'm really hoping he recovers. That's my biggest takeaway here, is that somebody like Hook, say what you want about what you think his wrestling career is or how you feel about how he's been booked up to this point or whether you like him or not. That's neither fish nor foul. Okay. But in this moment, I want to know that somebody as young as him is going to be able to wrestle tomorrow. And when I see injuries like this at AEW, I don't know what to expect. That's not a good feeling. When somebody gets injured in New Japan or somebody gets injured in WWE, I have the benefit of knowing, okay, they're going to go on, rehab for a little bit, try to nurse that injury, probably stay off television for a while, really only come back when they know they have the doctor's approval and they've done it themselves and the wrestler feels comfortable enough coming back. AEW, I don't get that. I feel like we're going to hear about it and then they're going to fall off the face of the earth and then hopefully come back okay in one piece and we're like, oh, okay, they survived. That's not the feeling I want to have with wrestling, Haas. It's not a good feeling. So it's really hard to defend them at this point because I think a lot of the issue stems from the fact that they're okay with just saying, hey, you want to go outside? Or, hey, boss, are we okay to do this? Yeah, it'd be cool, without actually stopping and asking, would it be safe or would it be viable? I think that's the biggest issue, and it plays into a lot of what we've heard people saying, that AEW is, the inmates running the asylum. And it's not a good feeling. I, as somebody who wants to be a wrestler, I don't know that I want to work there if I hear that. And if this is the result of it.
Don't get me wrong. I like hardcore matches. There is a place for hardcore matches. There's, I've been to death matches. Not really death matches because nobody dies in them, but of course, that it's all that style of wrestling though. And I've been there, I've watched them, and there is a place for them, but I think a lot of people are just taking it over the top anymore. They just really are. And I know they're doing it to try to top, all right, this one did this. Let me see if I can top that. Or I did this last time I was in the ring. I got to take it another step up. But it's getting too much and people are getting hurt. So it's, that's my opinion anyway.
I really couldn't agree more, man. It's a whole thing, and I guess it's just getting too hard to ignore is the problem. You know, it's like I feel like when that stuff happened early on, we didn't mind it as much, but now it's just like it's kind of like being told to ignore a train wreck. It's not going to happen. It's right there in front of you in all of its horrifying glory to see, and he's booked in a trios match. This is not. I hope this guy's okay. It's like I know Katsuyori Shibata can shake off stuff like this because that man is not a man. He's a monster. But Hook's in his 20s,
I can't.
Man.
I definitely cannot see how he is okay to do a trios match right now at this point. Just not after the bump, you know. It's just, it is what it is. But there again, is it one of these things that he's just trying to one up it again? So I got to jump up and get back in there, or is he really good to do it? But I do see that we have someone backstage here for a very special announcement. I'm not sure if they're ready to come on yet, though. Oh, yep, he's giving me the thumbs up.
Someone, Haas, come on, man. You've been doing this for 513 episodes. This ain't just somebody. This is someone.
That's right. Before I introduce him, let me get something all cute. Okay, there we go. So, let's bring this very special guest on. He is our one and only, our executive producer, the Night Owl, Renee Martinez.
Hope we did you justice, Buzz. Your mic's muted.
All right, we don't hear you. We don't hear you.
Oop.
All right.
Any luck? Hopefully.
No, we still don't hear you. All right. Let me take you back down. All right. Go into your settings and check what microphone you're using there. Go out and back in if you have to.
But we have a big announcement here, Haas. I'm assuming. Okay.
Thumbs up again.
Any luck? Any luck?
All right, gentlemen, can you hear me?
There he is.
Yeah, there we go. We're rocking and rolling.
Yeah, I'm not getting any audio from you guys.
Well,
can you hear me?
Us?
You guys can hear me now. I can't hear you.
Oh, okay. Great.
Wow, of course. Of course. All right, hold on. Let me make sure.
All right, here, hold on.
Yeah, I got everything set up the right way on my headset. I don't know what's going on. Let me try one last thing here because I want to make sure I get this taken care of. Here we go.
So we're being joined here by.
All right, gentlemen. Any better now?
Can you hear us now?
Yeah. What's wild is I can't hear you guys at all.
Wow.
That's a shame. Okay, give me a second and I'll pop back in. Okay.
All right.
So we'll try to roll with this right now.
I tell you what,
we're not used to.
Let's go ahead and bring one other person in here while we wait for the Night Owl to pop back in. Let's go ahead and hit that FWWC segment here real quick with the one and only, the CEO, DeJuan Mills.
Now, hold on. Wait a minute. Pause. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I hear you.
Oh, God, I can hear you guys. Listen, I'm not going to be all night. Total side note, sidebar. Dave, I'm not going to this one.
Go on, I got a question. Can you hear this?
Fucking bullshit!
What I get that drop for? What I do?
I just wanted to make sure you could hear it. That's all.
I was going to tell you happy April 15th, which is not only Tax Day, but happy Anime Day. Just saying, for all you anime nerds out there.
You're repping a good one, too. For those of you who haven't seen Hunter x Hunter, you got to mess with it. It's a good show.
And Lazarus, Total Shameless Club. But we're not going to do all that, man, because I know Night Owl got a big announcement. I'm not going to keep you guys I'm gonna keep it rolling. I'm gonna keep it moving. I'm gonna keep it jumping. It is officially WrestleMania week, which also means it is officially Universe Mania 11 week. Hardcore Hoss, I love that championship. That thing looks freaking amazing. Gabe, I love that championship. That thing looks freaking amazing. I'm telling you guys, as maybe as lackluster as the WWE card is, people have their own opinions about it. I'm gonna tell you something right now. Universe Mania 11 is going down, and I'm not just saying that because all of us are on the card. You know what? As a booker, and you kind of feel some type of way as a booker. You don't want to put yourself over or whatnot. But you know what? I had to get on there. I had to get myself in shape. Had to get rocking and rolling because Universe Mania 11 is this Saturday and Sunday, and I'm telling you guys, it is going down. Everything's set. The stipulations are set. All the card is set. Everything is ready. We're just waiting on the time for it to show up, pop up, and get it rolling. So, without further ado, if anybody, I mean anybody, can put that graphic up for Universe Mania 11, I would highly appreciate it. Some of you guys may know what's going down. Some of you guys may not know what's happening. But let's talk about this Universe Mania 11 card. We'll kind of go through the match. Oh, Lord, they put it like that. All right, I think I can see that. But a good thing I remember. So, first match, FWWC Warriors Heart Championship. Gabriel Arsene, our host, one of the hosts for the world's premier wrestling podcast in the world, the Wrestling Podcast, our current FWWC Warriors Heart Champion, will be defending against none other than Daniel Grimm. Gabe, I got to get your thoughts, man. This program has been a good one. It's been an amazing one. You guys have been showing some pretty back and forth action. Where are you at mentally? Because this is a big match for Universe Mania 11, man. You are on the big stage. You guys are going to showcase and show your talents. Gabriel Arsene, what are your thoughts going into Universe Mania 11 if you are allowed to share those thoughts?
Oh, I got plenty to share. Trust me. See, you ask something like, is Gabriel Arsene prepared for something like the main event of Universe Mania? And I just have to say, look at the cards for the past three, okay? Who's been in the main event? Who's been the man holding this right here? Now, that's nothing to snare away because the thing is my opponent, Daniel Grimm, he's been doing a very good job of delivering the thing he's been prattling on and on about here in the FWWC. He's talking about manifestation, about the destiny that we find ourselves in, the inevitability of what happens when a man tries to stray from his path. And, I couldn't have chosen a better stipulation if I tried. Dog collar match between two of the lowest mutts that you can ever square up in a cage here in the FWWC. But I just like to take this opportunity, Daniel, to show you something very important. It should be familiar to you. This right here, this is the contract we signed for Universe Mania. You talk about manifestation. You talk about the thing you plan on getting. See, but you sold your soul to get where you're at right now. And the devil charges interest. So keep in mind, no matter what you bring to the table, all you're going to be left asking yourself after Universe Mania was it worth it? And I can tell you right now, it's not going to be.
Ooh, strong words. And that's right, man. You've been in Universe. You have been in the main event. Let me think. Universe Mania 9? No, wait. Universe Mania 8, 9, 10? Whoa, it's been longer than that. Because it was you and Moby at Universe Mania 8. Then you and El Mata at Universe Mania 9. And then last year, was it you and Moby again?
Yes, it was.
Holy crap. Wow. Kudos to you, sir. That's a big
I do have to take the opportunity to address some of the skeptics here because my record in Universe Mania is what it is. But if I'm the man who's going to be telling about what the record is between me and Daniel, I have to run the numbers on my end. And that is that I am currently 0-1 when it comes to defending this championship here. But Daniel, I'm looking to change that.
Whew. Stern words. We also have the FWWC World Heavyweight Championship match against none other than Moby Lee, your Florida partner, also down there in the South, and none other than, I guess we're going to call him Brother Brown Bear. I I've seen a different attitude from Moby. Like, Moby's usually the happy-go-lucky guy. You know, he has a great attitude. But what he did to Uncle OG was completely uncalled for. And trust me, I think he had to do that to get the monster out. But I'll be honest, I've seen Brother Brown Bear in action. It's been a while since I've seen him in action. But doggone it, going in the Universe Mania 11, Moby is going to have to do what he has to do to survive that. It's going to be a freaking mauling, man. I just can't wait to see it. Also, you, Hardcore Hoss, your man, Hardcore Championship, you and Jason Curtis. This, you want to talk about long-term storytelling? You and JC have been going back together, going back and forth for some years. Also, total side note, not a shameless plug, it's an amazing plug. Hardcore Hoss, our longest reigning champion currently right now in the FWWC, longest reigning hardcore champion, longest reigning tenure champion. And Hoss, what you gonna do to hold on to that belt? Because it's been 2 years that's been around. You have defined hardcore championship. You have, and actually, you've been through all 3 generations of the hardcore title. The old school hardcore title, the mid-hardcore title, and now the new school hardcore title. Hoss, you are hardcore. You are that championship. But Jason Curtis is coming for that title. And you got to go on his turf. What is it, a freaking... Yeah, explain your match, sir.
Yeah, he done picked that I have to come to his motorcycle clubhouse to fight him. And, you know, I'm just not worried about it. You know, I can go to his clubhouse. I can fight anywhere. I'm not worried. You know, last time I fought him, I put him out for months. And I just took mercy on him that I didn't kill him last time. But, you know, he wanted to come back. He wanted to come after me. And if you want to be dumb and come after me, feel free. Because this time, I will put you out for good. I'm not scared. And yes, Susie, I've got a Jason Curtis shirt back here somewhere. Yeah, I do have a Jason Curtis shirt behind me. But that's just because I need to make sure I got extra toilet paper on hand. That's all. You know, in case we run out. But I'm not concerned.
That is funny as hell, man. Let me tell y'all guys something, man. Universe Mania 11 is always my favorite part of the FWC. And I was having a conversation with the Night Out early today. It's kind of our end of the season, okay? After Universe Mania, new things kick off. We bring in new people. So UM11 is kind of like, every Universe Mania is kind of like the season finale of the FWC for that particular season. So everybody being able to come together, everybody being able to actually compete and join together, and I'm just excited about it, man. And again, not just because I'm on there, because of all these amazing matches.
I wanted to take that opportunity. You're on the card this time around. You weren't able to make it last year.
Again, I'm not putting myself over.
Got gas in the tank, man. You got to rep it.
I know. The last year, I'm going to get to that, but the last Universe Mania I was a part of was Universe Mania 8. But again, getting back to these incredible matches. Spartans Heart Championship, it will be none other than our man Ace, who is our current FWC Spartans Heart Champion, defending against Remy Mother effing Ricks. And a caveat to that, they are also known as High Society, and they will be competing for the FWWC Tag Team Championship against none other than House of Horrors, which Hardcore Hoss, you know a lot about those tag teams, you know, being a part of, you know, the tag team, you and Hardcore Smith, House Mafia. I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I don't know how they're going to coexist. I don't know how they're going to, I mean, because they got to go against each other, and they also have to go against them for those tag team titles. That's weird. That I don't know how they're going to do it, because you want something, but you also have to sacrifice something to get something. You understand what I'm saying? And yes, I know Remy Ricks wants to be a part of, yeah, come on, bring that all in. I know Remy Ricks wants to have that Spartans Heart Championship. I know that Ace wants to defend those titles. But I also know they want the tag team titles. So it's going to be a lot of mixture there. But Ace is going to get the life. Oh, sure he is. Cool. Gotta love Sick, man. Gotta love Sick. But again, also not to negate, we want to talk about the International Championship, which I believe is the workhorse title here. None other than Badass American Diva will be defending that title against none other than Rage himself. I'm in a black light match. A black. Help me out, hardcore says. Black. What was it called? A black light. Like the shit's gonna be blinking.
Black Lives Matters match.
Oh, not that.
I'm gonna take the opportunity now. Nighto, can you hear us?
Yeah, loud and clear, y'all. My bad about earlier, y'all. We're
rolling with it at this point. We've done this.
Put it to you this way, bro. When you haven't got on the bike for a little while, you might still remember how to ride, but it's gonna be a little wobbly at first.
Exactly.
It's been a little while since I've been on here. Hey, I don't want to steal any thunder, bro. Dewan, I just want to say kudos to you, man. I don't think you hear this enough. Playing the role of a competitor, but also being the booker, and doing such a wonderful job, bro. I think you can. I don't know if we got a round of applause gimmick with the soundboard, but I think you deserve it, bro. No matter how your match turns out, bro, you deserve a round of applause. So if we have that, I would love it. Yeah, no doubt. You definitely got your hands.
I'll be honest with you guys. I picked a hell of a premium live event to compete for because with these damn matches, I ain't gonna lie. I'm like, what the hell? Oh Lord, this match.
I want to take the opportunity to ask then. I mean, you checking in with what me and Haas are going through. What's going through your mind, man? Marcus Mayhem, of all people. Like, I know you've dealt with this man in the past, but as somebody who has fought this man and knows what he's accomplished, I mean, I know he's been kind of on the back burner recently, but this is still a whole brick shithouse of a guy you got to get through. So what's going through your mind, Duan?
Everything started almost a year ago in FED, and it was my mindset. Again, CEO, been around this group 10 plus years, started it, whatnot. But like I always tell people, I don't put myself on such a high pedestal. I'm not in front of you guys. I'm not behind you guys. I'm on the sideline with every competitor here in the FWWC. And I earned my way to the main roster. I did the matches. I did the work. I did the promos. I did every single last thing that was asked of me. And if you think about it, myself and Marcus is the only match at FWWC Universe Mania 11 that is non-title. There is nothing on the line. This is strictly two individuals. Some might say that I'm a little bit older. Some might say that I'm a little bit rusty, but as you can see, I've been working out. I've been putting in the work. I've been doing everything that it takes to make sure that I can win at Universe Mania 11. And that's what it takes. It's effort. That's what it takes. It's consistency. That's what it takes. It's having a different mindset. See, we can sit here and say we're the best. We can talk about all these accolades and championships and NFG and all this other stuff and everything. It doesn't matter. What are you going to do when it's time to step up? What are you going to do when your name is called? I'm one of the oldest guys here in this group, but I feel like I just got started yesterday. You want to know why? Because that's what I'm telling myself in my brain. This isn't my first match. I haven't just now joined the main roster. I've been doing this for a while, but I treat it like I do it every day, like it's a brand new day, no pun intended, and I am going into Universe Mania with the mindset that I'm going to do my best, work my best, be my best, and we'll see what goes from there. I don't fear Marcus Mayhem. I fear nobody. I'm not putting myself for nobody. I'm on the sidelines with all y'all. You understand that? And at Universe Mania 11, the CEO is going to do what the CEO does best. Work. Not talk. Not do a bunch of different dumbass promos. Not do a bunch of different written out bullshit. Not sit in the car. I'm going to work. Plain and simple. That's what's going to happen in Universe Mania 11.
I do have one follow-up question, but go ahead, John. Sorry.
Of course, you were supposed to be on the sideline for Universe Mania because of the fact that I fired you from the FED. But you know, it
is. Well, that was the one question I had. So, and I'll keep this brief because I do have this big news, and I want you to be here for this, Dewan. But you know, I go back further than a year. I go back to why you ended up in FED in the first place. We remember what happened when Cairo broke your leg, the road to recovery. It was a bad deal. And I think everybody assumed that because you suffered that injury, that it was going to give you even more of an excuse to not step up and be an in-ring competitor. And if I remember correctly, that was the big criticism coming from the other guy, whose name shall not be named, because if you say it too many times, he shows up, you know how that works. But do you feel like you gain something? Because I know initially you were pretty pissed off that the co-owner of the company, the CEO of the main roster, was forced to go down to the Fed. Now, a year later, CEO, do you feel like going through that gave you a different perspective? Because the criticism was, how can you run a company if you've never worked at every level? And that was what people were saying, and that's what certain individuals were using against you. You know, we thought inevitably that match between you and him was going to happen at this Universe Mania. We see that is not taking place, but it's almost like his right-hand man. You know, we all know that Marcus Mayhem and Hardcore Hoss are the left and right hand of that said individual, not to mention an up-and-coming young lion with the old soul. But was it all worth it in the end, Dewan, with a wordy question here? Was it all worth it? Did it all pay dividends? Because I know initially you were not happy about being sent down to the FED, considering you're, half owner of the company and also the CEO.
Honestly, Matt Al, I'll be real with you. Again, my mindset was this. I was doing everything in my power to get to El Mata. Now I'm doing everything in my power to get to me. Who I am as a competitor, who I am as a CEO, who I am as a man, who I am as a person. You know, this isn't a work, this is a shoot. Yes, I've really been working out. Yes, I've really been losing weight. Yes, I've really been taking care of myself. It's not just me running some kind of gimmick for the EFED or the fantasy group, whatever you want to call it. This group has changed my mind. This group has changed my life. Universe Mania 11 has put me in the mindset that I got to be the absolute best no matter what happens. So yes, it was worth it. The FED was worth it. Being sent down there was worth it. All the matches were worth it. And I'm not even thinking about titles. I'm not even thinking about on my thing. None of that is on my brain. What's on my brain is the next match. What's the next match? I'm not thinking 4 or 5 matches down the line. I'm not thinking about 3 or 4 titles down the line. I'm not even worried about that. What I'm worried about is this weekend, and what I'm concerned about is this weekend at Universe Mania 11, doing the best that the CEO got. Simple as that. And Marcus, he needs to know something. I'm not playing any games. Game time is over. I'm here. I ain't got nobody on my side. I don't need no group. I don't need no comrades, nothing like that. I got the fans. I got the people. And more importantly, I got me.
Well, I guess I'll have to wait till the next time I come on here after Universe Mania, because I was going to ask you what big plans and changes, because I know, we always like to mix it up season to season. So you guys will have to get to tune back in for a couple of weeks down the road after Universe Mania to see what we're cooking up for the next season, man. Season 12 of the FWWC. I cannot wait. I know we've already had some discussions, but I'm super duper hyped, and I want to wish all of you guys the best in your matches. I've never really competed. I've always sat on the sideline as an administrator. I've always enjoyed it. Not looking to change that anytime soon. I let the professionals do what they do, but it is a joy to watch all 3 of you guys operate at the very highest level. And let me make sure everybody knows this. I watch everything, and there are few people that can live up to the standard of 3 men standing inside of this box right now on side camera. And of course, we couldn't have an episode without Susie Hoss buttering up El Mata. There's one. Let me not say it anymore, but it could not pass. The opportunity could not go by without her. Anyway, geez Louise. The guy hasn't shown up in months, and it's still the topic of conversation all the time. It kind of drives me crazy. I'm sure our scene and Hoss don't necessarily mind, but like you, Mills, I'm sick and tired of hearing that guy. I'm over it.
You know, we're talking about this weekend here real quick. You know, I want to be respectful of everybody's time.
Right.
But I do want to throw out there as well, you know, the FED is going to be in action this weekend. I've been seeing the promos dropping today and everything. So they're going to be in action Saturday at FWWC FED Presents Thunderstruck, where we will see Robert versus Nathaniel Jones. You're going to see a Luchador DKC versus Funky Flex. And you're going to see Oni versus Yoko Kitsune. You know, the last time we saw Oni and Yoko, they were in a handicap match against Robert, and they lost, and they've been going back and forth about whose fault it was.
Yeah, I watched that, bro. They're beefing, bro. I never thought it.
So,
you guys got some good stuff going on down there.
decided let's throw them in a match and let them fight it out. You know, they want to blame each other, go for it.
And I see some promos flying today. Shout out to the Fed, man. Y'all are killing it down there.
So be looking forward to that Saturday as well. So there's going to be a lot of FWWC action going on this Saturday and Sunday. So keep your eyes peeled for it.
Now, I just want to say, I think that's enough patting ourselves on the back, gentlemen. Renee, you came here for a reason.
I did. And I want you to hang out for this too, Dewan, because it's a couple of layers. Let me drop a couple of teasers and then we'll get to the news. So number one, we do have some big things coming up for season 12 of the FWWC. You guys do not want to miss it. This is the time to start getting the word out to your friends and family. Hey, we're starting a new season. If you want to jump into the world's premier fantasy wrestling promotion, we have not seen any new bodies in the group for a little while, and I think it's damn time that we start bringing in some new folk. That is one of our weakest points as far as I'm concerned. I think that we have a lot of great talent in the business already, but we need to bring some more folks in. So just know we got some huge surprises. Speaking of which, I'm going to let a little bit out of the bag on today's show. So the Wrestle Talk podcast, the very last Wrestle Talk podcast of this month, I have a very special announcement concerning the FWWC and programming directly correlated with our partnership with Wrestle Talk podcast. Okay. You guys may know that we used to have this little show called the FWWC Tonight. So come the last show of this month, which I believe is April 29th, we will have a huge announcement concerning the FWWC Tonight. I'm going to go this far to tell you is that we already have our host set, we already have our format set, and we already have a start date set for the podcast. So make sure that y'all tune in to the Wrestle Talk podcast, the last show of this month. Somebody can confirm, I believe it is the 29th of April. Make sure you guys lock it in. Dewan will be here. I know Haas will be here. Our host will be here. Guys, it is going to be spectacular, and I promise you it is going to be the best and funniest and most entertaining version of the FWWC Tonight that we have ever had. So that's my number one. And again, that is just
is correct.
All right, yeah, and that is just a teaser. So make sure y'all know that. Number two, on that show, we're also going to be making an official announcement about a new partnership. I'm not going to let too much out of the bag right now, but the championship that you see over John's shoulder has something to do with this partnership. So as much as we're proud of all of the belts that were created before this era, we feel like with this new partnership, it's going to get even better as time goes on. So if there was ever a time to tell people, hey, bro, this fantasy group has real belts and they're 100% custom and they're worth a couple of $100 a piece, you're not going to see anything like them. We're not like any other group. There's no biting, no style stealing. Everything we do, with the exception of our heavyweight championship, which eventually that'll change as well, is 100% original. So make sure, again, to tune into the April 29th show for more information on a new partnership that we have just solidified in the last couple of days. And of course, we want you guys to be the first ones to know it when it goes official. So again, that April 29th show for the Wrestle Talk podcast / FWWC is going to be doomed. And I will just leave it at that. Okay, so now, last bit of news. And do we have our other guest ready to come on as well? Okay, perfect. Excellent.
I think he's been foaming at the mouth right now.
No, and listen, and I apologize. No, I appreciate it. And, build up is everything. You guys know how the business works, right? And I wish I could hang out with you guys and talk wrestling, but the business deals are always waiting. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me be the first to announce our newest. I'm not used to this at all. I am so out of practice. Let me be the first to announce that as of tonight, the Wrestle Talk podcast, FWWC, the FED, the whole Essential Enterprise conglomerate, has formalized an official new exclusive partnership with one of the most respected professional wrestling promotions in the country. What does that mean? We're going to get into that in just a second. But I just want to say that we have done exclusive deals very rarely. Okay. You guys know we have an exclusive deal with I-70 Sports Media. I-70 Sports Media is part of the collective, right? That we call the Wrestle Talk, the FWWC, everything else that goes along with it. Well, we now have a brand new exclusive partner in WDWA, meaning that as of today, in and around Martinsburg, West Virginia, Wrestle Talk Podcast will be the exclusive home for all things WDWA. Meaning that not only are we going to be sharing resources and you're going to see their logo on our posters and our logo on their posters and all that kind of fun stuff, but there will also be an exclusive show every other week right here on the Essential Enterprises Network. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to introduce the man who owns WDWA with some of the very best talent in the entire country going in and out of those doors every 2 weeks. My friend and yours, ladies and gentlemen, former guest, longtime member of the Wrestle Talk Podcast family, my hermano, Gavin Jackson.
What's going on, everybody? What's up, Wrestle Talk? Everything good with my audio?
You look good.
Yes, thankfully.
All right.
Hey, can we get the smaller boxes? Can we get the boxes that are a little tighter, please? Thank you. So, Gavin, before I let you get into your deal, because this is definitely all about you on this one. And last thing, can we move Gavin to center box, please?
Please.
Thank you much. Excellent. Yeah. There you go. So I'm not gonna ramble because you guys know that's what I'm known for. But let me just say that when somebody of the caliber of Gavin Jackson, who has been successful inside the ring and outside the ring, comes to you and says, "Hey guys, we've been watching what you do. We've been working with you for a long time. We really love what you guys do and the longevity that you guys have had." And Gabe, you always hear me talking about this in the chat. You guys always hear me talking about this in the chat. We are here for two reasons. We're highly entertaining, but really we're consistent. Every week or every other week, people can depend on the Wrestle Talk Podcast. Well, when it comes to professional wrestling in West Virginia, WDWA is the exact same thing. Quality, consistent, and they put on a damn good show. You never know what to expect. The one thing you can expect is that they're going to always be there and that they're always going to put on a quality product. So when Gavin approached us, I was eager to hear what he wanted to talk to us about. And when I heard him say, "Hey, we respect what you guys do. We want to kind of hitch our wagon to yours and you guys to us," I said, "Hey, man, you just say when." Rest in peace, Val Kilmer. Say when, because we are always looking for people that are passionate about this. Every single person on this screen loves professional wrestling, loves the Wrestle Talk Podcast, loves the FWWC. And I said, you know what? If there's anybody that fits the mold of what we've been building here for 500 plus episodes, it's WDWA. So before I get out of here and Gavin and John get into some of the details of what's coming up, let me just say that this deal absolutely has my entire blessing. I could not be happier to be working with Gavin. And I just want to say that I hope that this partnership is as fruitful as our friendships have been, guys. Because when we choose our partners and we decide who we want to work with, we want people to be hardworking and like-minded. And there's no question in my mind that this partnership is going to be exactly that. So I will graciously take a step back so that the guys can – here's what we're going to do for you. Here's what Gavin and John are going to do for you in the next couple minutes. They're going to give you the name of the show. They're going to tell you what the show's all about. And they're even going to give you the very first show date. So I'm going to get up out of the way so I can actually enjoy this and watch it as a fan, because I'm a fan just like everybody else. But I just want to say, Gavin, John, thank you guys for putting this thing together. This would not have happened without you, and I hope that is a long, fruitful partnership. I have no reservations in saying that I think this is going to be our best partnership, and I'm sure a bunch of amazing things are sure to come. So congratulations to you guys, John, Gavin, Dewan, Gabe. I'm glad you guys were here to witness it as well. Everybody who's tuning in live and watching on the replay, thank you guys. I know I don't get to be here as much as I would like, but whenever things like this happen, and like what's going to happen on the 29th, the Night Owl is going to show up. You know why? Because I love this shit. I miss it, and I love it. Congratulations, guys. I'll go ahead and watch off the air. Let me know if you need anything. All right, fellas? Have a good one.
Yeah, real quick, Renee, before you sign off, man.
Of course.
First of all, thank you so much for that tremendous introduction, man. I don't even know how you put that together. You just, came up with something to put me on a pedestal, man, a lot further than I deserve, man. I just want to say that was fantastic, man, and definitely sets the bar and for our relationship here and where we're going forward, man. And just on behalf of myself and the wrestling company, I want to thank you, and I want to thank everybody at Wrestle Talk Podcast for taking the time to meet, taking the time to hear some crazy ideas and sort of make, a dream a reality. My biggest thing with the World Domination Wrestling Alliance since I've taken over is what can I do next? Like I'm doing the local scene, so I'm like, what's next? So we get a YouTube channel. We have a show called Frontline, which is 100,000 plus subscribers. I think we're up to like 140, 150 now. Wow. So what was next? What was next was something that I was very familiar with all the way back from when Richard and Joe had Wrestle Talk.
Rest in peace, Rick Rose.
Years ago. Yeah, Rick.
Rest in peace, Rick.
And that's where my relationship started with Wrestle Talk. And from then until now, you guys have not been nothing but humble. You've always had your doors open for us. Whenever we needed to chat or check in or call, you guys always made time for us. So I'm looking forward to this relationship, and not to be so cliche and like brown nose, man, but I think very highly of you, Renee, and everybody else that I've with. You guys carry yourself with certain respect, and that's exactly what I want to do for this company. So the pairing with you guys is taking WTP and WDWA out to the world, and that's the example that I want to set. So looking forward to it, man. Thank you for that introduction.
No problem. And the last thing I'll say is I know I get a lot of shit for my approach to business. I know it dwindles my friends list down quite a bit. But guys, this is the means to the end. When you earn the respect of people in the business that have the respect, there is no greater respect. With that, I will tip my cap. Again, congratulations. I'm glad everybody was here to witness it live. Gavin, Hardcore Hoss, you guys have all the utmost confidence for me. And if there's anything I can do to make this a smooth transition for you guys as you make the announcements and everything, you know where I'm at, man. Don't hesitate to reach out. I love you guys. God bless everybody. I'm going to enjoy the rest of the show, watching it on my TV. And just know, man, I'm never too far away. Wrestle Talk Podcast is my baby. It'll always be my baby. But what's great is when you can take your baby, it grows up, leave it in somebody else's hands, and it just continues to flourish. And that's everything that I've seen from the moment that we came back after episode 500. So thank you guys very much. And hopefully it'll catch you down the road, man. Love y'all. Peace.
Thank you, Dada.
Go ahead, John. Let you be brother.
Jackson, what's the deets, huh? What do we got?
I'm a talker, so I'm just gonna let John go, or else we're gonna be here all night.
All right. Well, as they were saying, on the off weeks for Wrestle Talk Podcast, you will actually right here on Wrestle Talk Podcast's Facebook page and as well as WDWA's Facebook page and probably a few other places, any place you're seeing this, you will actually see another podcast that will be hosted by Gavin Jackson and myself, probably most of the time. We may have some other people rotate in from time to time or fill in for us. And that podcast is Elevation, which Elevation will be brought to you by Wrestle Talk Podcast and WDWA. We are going to start Elevation on May 8th, and we'll be bringing that to you at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central Time. So, we hope you guys will tune in. We will have guests from, WDWA superstars. We will have some of the other personalities from WDWA, some managers. We may have some of the referees on from time to time. We may even bring on some of the fans from time to time. You never know who will be bringing on, and there may even be some exclusive content that may get caught from time to time, and I've been talking with Gavin about some ideas, and I've talked with Juan from Frontline a little bit about some ideas and stuff. So you never know what you're going to see on our podcast there. So, Gavin, anything you want to add in there?
So, yeah, man, absolutely. So elevation, what's elevating mean? It's, bringing something up, bringing something to light, So our whole theory behind this whole thing is, what can we do to elevate WDWA? What can we do to elevate WTP? So collaborating with each other to create this side project to run opposite WTP weeks is just to excel everything, excel everybody involved. What that means for WTP is get you guys more exposure, to get you guys having more guests on your show, to just be able to promote you guys in all of our platforms, including our show, posting all your information on our posters, our match graphics, all that stuff, so we can help elevate WTP, as well as the constant mentioning and the constant being associated with it on the on our show. So, and in return, we're able to help tell our stories, help build our company, take some of our talent, bring them in, and help elevate, what they bring to the table, because you never know what eyes are watching who. You never know, when WWE scouts are watching one of our guys and we bring them on here, that brings eyes all over the place. And, after talking with Hoss and talking with Renee, I just believe this is going to be a win-win for both companies. And I got to say, I think the name Elevation says it all. I'm looking forward to it. Our fans are looking forward to it. I'm hoping they get on here and they're chatting away just like all these WTP fans are doing. I want everybody to have a voice, I want all of your WTP to join us. I want all of WDWA to join you guys. I just want it to be one big happy family, and whatever we could do to help each other excel and help build the relationships. That's what we want.
Not to cut you off, I just want to say, just because I think I've mentioned this like 100 times when it comes to other, the wrestling business in itself, but I love knowing that Wrestle Talk gets to open a door for something like this, where, we get to promote WDWA gets to promote Wrestle Talk, and you get that cross-pollination is what I like to call it, where, we get the influx of talent from your business. You get some people on our end, some of our professionals to go over there and, interview people. And it just, I don't know, it's this like cycle of awesome where we're getting more stuff and raising each other up as a result. And just want to say, as the resident rookie here in the Wrestle Talk podcast, it's a pleasure to have you, man. And I hope to do right by your company. But
I'm sure you will, man. It's very nice meeting you and everybody else on the team. And again, you guys, everybody at WTP is just as welcome and involved with everything over at Elevation. This is a big family. It's not two separate entities. It's just an addition to both products, so we're all growing together and our family's just getting bigger is the way I'm looking at everything.
Yeah, and I see we've already got a couple people who say they'll be tuning in. I mean, we've got, Assad. He's out there around Renee and everything. He says he'll be tuning in. And, David Owen out in California says he's going to tune in to Elevation. So,
Nice.
we're going to hopefully have people from all over just tuning in, not just to Elevation, but, hopefully they like what they see and they'll be tuning into Frontline as well, and checking out the WDWA matches there on Frontline, and just really, taking both Wrestle Talk and WDWA to the next level, because both products are just absolutely great products. And of course I could be a little biased, but
so our biggest show of the year, our WrestleMania, is in August. We call it Berkeley Mania because we're in Berkeley County, West Virginia. My hope for the future is we get a live WTP broadcast straight from Berkeley Mania, and we just all witness it together and just celebrate success together. And the same thing, when you guys do your big shows too, we're more than happy to be a part of that as well. I got so much to say, John. I'm so sorry to cut you off, but I got so much to say. I could talk forever. Like, Renee gave me this platform to talk, and it's probably going to drive my wife nuts. She's probably going to think I'm never coming to bed at night. But, I'm just excited to do that. Anytime I get the chance to talk wrestling. Last time John and I were in person talking wrestling, we ended up staying at a fair for up past midnight on a work night. And it's just one of those things, I'm passionate about. Obviously, John's passionate about it. Everybody at WTP is passionate about it. So I really just can't wait, man. Like, I'm ready to jump into it. So.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm definitely looking forward to everything. Looking forward to working with you a little more, Gavin, and, looking forward to working with everybody at Frontline and WDWA. And, I know that you guys are just looking forward to working with WTP as well. So we're glad to have you, and welcome to the family. And, we just really look forward to just, elevating everything here. And once again, that's going to begin on May 8th, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. Sorry they're sick. I don't remember the Pacific time, whether that's 6 or 5 Pacific time, but whatever it is, I'm sure you've done enough with it that you know. But definitely, look forward to you guys tuning in. Just as we do here, you can throw your comments out there. I'm sure we'll be glad to throw your comments up and just have you guys as part of that show as well, just as you are with, Wrestle Talk. So, but unless you have anything else, Gavin?
Like I said, I could talk all night, but I know this is your guys' show. I just want to thank you again for the platform, to be able to come on here and let everybody know about Elevation, but also the platform for when we start on May 8th to be able to take what I've been working so hard to help be successful and bring it on another platform to get it out there for everybody. So again, I'll stop talking, but thank you guys so much and looking forward to everything. Have a great show tonight, and I'll see everybody soon.
All right. Thank you, Gavin. Appreciate you. And once
Gavin
again,
Jackson, ladies and gentlemen.
Big news, groundbreaking there. Partnership between WDWA and Wrestle Talk Podcast. So our guests are backstage. I do want to be respectful of their time. Sorry, we are running a little behind. So real quick, though, let me go ahead and Perry, sorry that you've been waiting backstage to jump in here.
You just gonna jump him in like that? You need the intro.
No. Again, see, it speaks volumes, Arsene. See, yeah, maybe that portion of the show you should be running, and he can do the talking, and you guys can pass it back and forth. But it's all good, brother, because we're alive.
But yeah, I definitely I wanted to get you in here, and because we all know that when you come in and you drop that snippet of truth on us, that's just a integral part of the Wrestle Talk podcast. And unfortunately, the past couple shows you've been a little under the weather. We are glad that you're back, and so we want you to go ahead and drop that snippet of truth on us. And then we'll go ahead and get to our featured guests that, I am, once again, I'm so sorry we're running behind, guys, but we will get to them very shortly here. So you want to go ahead and drop that snippet on us there, Big Daddy?
One piece of truth I just want to share is that the wrestling business has never been better. Okay? The fact that for the next 4 days, I have to be glued to my television because my favorite sport is going to be on at all different times. And one of the things that I am thankful that the Lord has continued to take the Wrestle Talk podcast and bring it to levels that, I mean, look at all the wonderful changes and growth that you guys have gone through. I mean, nothing can satisfy me more than to watch people I care about succeed and make it doing what they love to do. So don't ever, no matter what's going on in the world around you, no matter what we're seeing, what happens at the Wrestle Talk podcast is outside of all that. So no matter how crazy things get, no matter how insane you think things are going, don't ever forget that God has a plan. I mean, look at how perfect this timing was with tonight. Did anybody notice that WDWA?
You got it.
Their logo, it's got a cross right in the middle. Now, there's a backstory in that I was kind of curious. So is he gone?
Yeah, he's gone.
Does anybody know the story behind that? That's some truth.
I do know that before Gavin bought it, the original owner, the Latin Tornado, he is a Christian. He attends church regularly and everything, and that was something that he absolutely wanted when he started. He wanted his Christian faith in his logo to show that it is a Christian company and to show his faith. And when Gavin became commissioner, they did a rebrand, and the one thing he asked him was, please leave the cross in the logo. And when Gavin bought the company, that was still a request that he asked him, was please, no matter what you do, it's your company, you change what you want, but please leave the cross in. And so Gavin has honored that, and he's left the cross in it. And Gavin actually recently has gotten baptized himself. So it is a Christian company, and they just they're wanting to show their faith. I mean, there may be more to it than that I don't realize, but I do know that is a part of it. So,
well, I would at any point love to hear the rest of the story, because I don't care if you go back 2,000 years. The fact is that when you see the cross, it does one of two things. It gives you hope, or it scares the living bejesus out of you. The only reason why there's any fear involved is because people think that they need to change to become something else in order to have a relationship with God. And God meets you right where you are, okay? God is not Vince McMahon. He doesn't run it like the WWE used to run their promotion, which, as you know, is changed so significantly. But it's great that even after the last couple weeks that I have been able to join, that the light is still shining nice and bright. And so let me just give you your snippet of truth. And the truth is, there's only one thing that sets you free. So if you're struggling and you're without peace and you're without joy and you're struggling right now with life, you're in the best position you can ever be in, because as soon as you can realize that you're not in control of this circus, it makes you feel better, because now it begins to explain why there's such insanity around there. But you always find that in the midst of chaos is peace, love, and joy. And I wish and hope nothing more than peace, love, and joy for everybody that's listening to my voice. You cannot impress a perfect God. So don't worry about what anybody else thinks. Just care about what the Lord thinks. And if you don't know that he has a plan for your life, and this is the first time you're hearing this, don't stress about it. Don't sweat it, because it says that when you know the truth, it sets you free. And Jesus is the truth. And being able to submit your life in his hands so he can take it to use to bless and change other people. I just turned 54 on the 10th. I got saved at 31. And let me tell you, I have a past. I have a checkered past. But guess what? My present and my future looks bright. So if I can encourage you, if I can love on you, just know that it didn't generate from me, but our Creator. So thank you for allowing me this opportunity. It's truly a privilege to speak God's word to people. And sometimes I teach, sometimes I preach, sometimes I encourage. But right now, the most important thing that I want to do is let y'all know how much I appreciate you allowing me to have this time, because there could come a day in the future that we can't talk about our faith. Now, I hope we never get to that point. It got a little scary for a while. There was a lot of wokeness going on, but the good news is I believe that's at least going to be behind us for the next 3 3/4 years. I don't know that for sure. And I know a lot of people say there's two things you don't talk about: religion and politics. I talk both, because you only really get to know someone until you know, one, what do they believe in, and two, who do they honor? And if you are living in the United States of America and you're not honoring the United States and you want to be somewhere else, sayonara. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you, because we can speak freely about anything in our country. That includes hate and division. And we've had the last 4 years of nothing but division. And so I hope that as we proceed forward in this 2025, going into 2026, that we remember love covers a multitude of sins.
All right. Well, Big Daddy, I haven't received any actual prayer requests.
Well, they didn't know I was coming on, because I've been
right.
God knows what he's doing. Don't ever forget you are where you are right now, because that's where he wants you to be. If he wanted you to be somewhere else, you'd be there. If he would allow me, last week I had no voice. It was not, I would have come on and gone, and you can even tell still, it's still not all the way. So thank you for your patience, but I didn't want to come on until whatever the Lord wanted me to say could come out clearly, precisely, and accurately.
So for those who may have had a prayer request, you know, the Lord knows what's on your heart, irregardless. So, Big Daddy, would you like to drop a prayer on us real quick before we go ahead and bring our guests in for the evening? So
absolutely, and Gavin, congratulations on your baptism. That's a very special time between you and the Lord. Even the Lord himself got baptized, although he didn't need the baptism because he didn't have any sin. But God spoke to the people that were watching it and says, "This is my son who I'm well pleased." Baptism is all about identification. So the fact that you identified yourself as a representative of Christ, just know persecution will come. Problems are guaranteed, but stress is optional. Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for giving us time. Thank you for giving us breath and air and internet and power and electricity and water. For there are people right now who are just struggling. No power, no electricity. All over the world, there is disaster and there is calamity. But we know, Lord, that you're in control. And we know that anytime there is calamity or disaster, it is not for our suffering, inasmuch as it's all about our growing and recognizing. Usually it takes a disaster for us to wake up from our slumber, from being comfortable in what this world has to offer, when we know, Lord, that you've got greater plans. Thank you so much for this time. Thank you for those that are watching. I pray that you continue to open every door that needs to be open, close every door that needs to be closed for Wrestle Talk, for those that are injured, that cannot do what they love to do, Father. I pray that the blanket of peace just covers them, that you would give them comfort, especially those that need surgery, that are not know how they're going to make it from day to day. There are so many people that are scared, Father, but we know fear is okay. Living in fear is not okay. So we will trust you, and I thank you that you never give us a busy signal. You never give us a voicemail. You always are ready to hear from us, because you tell us if we're weary and heavy laden and beat down from this world, come to you and you will give us rest. And I pray for all those that are watching right now that you would give them rest, especially in times of chaos. We thank you so much and we love you. I ask these things by the power of the Holy Spirit in the name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, in whose name I pray. Amen. We did it.
All right. Amen.
Miss a beat, Big Daddy.
Love you guys. Miss you. He does. I mean, I haven't been able to do a lot of outreach. There's been a lot of internal stuff that, within the family. My mother-in-law was in the ER for 5 times in 3 weeks. And it's been completely crazy. But in the midst of it, my peace and joy hasn't gone anywhere. And I think that's what he wants. He wants a stable mental attitude. Don't let all the junk in the world. Love you, man. Just a stable. Can you imagine what it must be like to have an attitude of gratitude every day and every moment? It's possible. It is. You just have to want it.
Well, Big Daddy, we definitely appreciate you being here. We appreciate that snippet of truth that you drop on us each time you're here. And you have definitely been in my prayers and a lot of other people's prayers, with your illnesses and everything. So, and congratulations on the new edition that's coming.
Oh man, there is no, that was a joke, by the way. That was on April Fool's Day. We have 10 daughters already. My wife's 55. We need one more. We've got one left. She's 15, almost 15. And then in 3 years, she'll be 18. And it's just her and I. So we think, but because my mother-in-law is older, that could bring in a whole new atmosphere. So don't stop praying, but keep praying for each other, man. Be there for each other. Me too, man. Me too. It's kind of been a struggle, but that's how we learn. We learn in our struggles for some reason. I don't know why we can't learn the easy way. Why can't God just whisper in my ear, do this? And I do it without questioning him or wondering why. So may we have peace with that.
So, all right. Well, Big Daddy, we hope to see you back here in 2 weeks. That'll be the first show after WrestleMania. We are actually that night going to have basically like a WrestleMania rewind type thing where, we just talk about WrestleMania all night. You are more than welcome to come back and talk to us all night long about WrestleMania if you like that night. And it should be a good time. And
don't lose hope about this WrestleMania. I know the prices were high. I know a lot of people are talking a lot of crap about, that's not going to be. Let me tell you, they're going to deliver. I know they're going to deliver because for 41 years, they've already delivered. And they're not going to stop now. So enjoy the show. Enjoy it, guys. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you, Big Daddy.
Love you, Perry.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Big Daddy P. Gabe, we have had a huge show so far, and we are actually a little over an hour and a half into this thing, and just now getting to our special guests of the evening. And, wow, what a show it has been! I tell you,
I mean, we just covered about everything, man. I mean, we got the Heisman, we got Dewan with the FWWC, we got Universe Mania, we got Big Daddy Perry, we got Renee making an announcement, we're partnering with WDWA. So I can't think of any other better way than to put the cherry on the sundae with our special guest here tonight, because we have lined up somebody very, very special here. Would you like to do the introduction, Haas? Because I mean, we could be all here just talking about the accolades. All right.
Sure. Well, we actually have two people here tonight, and I know for sure one of them has been on the show before, and the other one I'm not so sure about, but either way, we're happy to have them both here. So first off, allow me to introduce a man who has done commentary with a lot of different people, Kenny Bolin, Jim Cornette, Dutch Mantell, Al Snow. He's been a part of OVW, as well as a lot of other places. He is also a retired law enforcement officer, so we definitely want to thank him for his service there as a first responder. And he's been a part of more than 1,000 episodes of OVW television, and that is the one and only Dean Hill, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show, Dean.
We had some music for you. I don't know why it didn't work.
Do you hear me okay?
Yes,
yep, we hear you loud and clear. Welcome to the show. And then also to the show tonight, we have a gentleman who, as I say, I know he's been here before. He is with EatSleepWrestle.com. I've actually had the privilege of meeting this gentleman. Met him, it's been a few years ago, down in West Virginia at some blood sport matches they had down there. And he's the author of many great books. And one of them happened to be the autobiography of Dean Hill, See You at Ringside. So let's bring him in, the one and only, welcome back to the show, John Cosper.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Welcome.
Which way you point there, Dean? So yeah,
sorry we're running behind tonight, you guys, but we are going to give you all the time that we need to talk about the book and everything. And we are just so happy to have you here. So thank you for being here.
For sure.
My honor.
Inside scoop on Dean Hill and John Cosper here tonight.
So, Gabe, you want to go ahead and start us off here?
Of course. You know me. I always come prepared. So I do have my notes here, so I apologize if I'm looking down every bit now and then. But I figured I'd start with you, Dean, if that's okay.
Sure.
Just because, we got a lot here. 1,000 episodes of Ohio Valley Wrestling. You think about all the names that have come from there. You've been, an announcer. You've done everything as far as like security, announcing on the actual ring announcers. So I actually want to kind of pull from a question I asked our last guest, Joe Dombrowski. And that is that, when you think of announcers or you think of voices in wrestling, you think of, your Jim Cornettes, your Jim Rosses, your Paul Heymans, and I guess I just have to ask, how did you find the Dean Hill voice? What was the key inspiration, or what was that feeling you had when you were thinking, yeah, this is it. This is how I want to sound and how people are going to hear me.
Well, actually, it was a complete fluke. As you mentioned earlier, for 25 years of my life, I was a Louisville City police officer. And at one point, I needed a part-time job after a divorce. And I went and talked to a gentleman that ran Andy Frame's security. And they had to hire off-duty police officers with arrest powers to work concerts and such. And on Tuesday nights, I used to work for them, and me and 4 uniformed security guards would walk the bad guys to the wrestling ring. Whenever the ring announcer couldn't be there, the gentleman that actually ran Louisville Gardens, his name was Al N.T., they would have him come up and do the ring announcing. Well, he hated it. And one night, the ring announcer wasn't going to be able to be there, and he said, "Here, Dean, you want to do this?" Well, I was a class clown, so I said, "Well, heck yes, I want to do it." So I went there that night, and I just kind of jumped up into the ring. And Jeff Jarrett's grandmother, Jerry Jarrett's mom, Christine Jarrett, everyone called her Teeny, she heard me do it that night, and she said, "There's something about your voice. The ring announcer can't be here next week. Do you want to do it again?" So, sure. So I had never really watched professional wrestling. My grandparents were into boxing from Sugar Robinson or whatever from many, many years ago, Floyd Patterson and all those guys. So I went home that night and I turned on professional wrestling, and I found out that if you just lower your voice a little bit. So I went back the following week with a jacket and a tie on, and Jerry Jarrett gave me advice. He said, "You can say anything that you want before you ring the bell to start the match. You don't say a word unless we tell you to during the match. And at the end of the match, after you've rung the bell, you can say anything that you need to say." So that's what I did. And at the end of the night, Christine came up to me and offered me the job. So I was in professional wrestling as a ring announcer and eventually a play-by-play coordinator for the first 1,100 TV shows for Ohio Valley Wrestling. And that's how I got into the business. So I was just in the right place at the right time.
That's crazy to think, honestly. I want to catch a break like that, if I'm being honest. But wow, just on a whim like that, and then it just, turned into a full career. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, just one of those things. I never planned on doing it, but I was very blessed at the time to have worked with some people that had become quite great at their stage in pro wrestling. When I first started working with what was CWA, and then it turned quickly into USWA at Louisville Gardens, obviously Jerry the King Lawler and Tojo Yamamoto. And I had the honor of being the tag team partner one time with Handsome Jimmy Valiant. And then some other guys that came through that you may know. One of them was called the Master of Pain from Atlanta Federal Penitentiary. He went on to become the Undertaker. Then there was another gentleman they brought out for Christmas season, and he hates when I say this, but they dressed him as a Christmas tree.
Yep.
And they called him the Christmas Creature, and that turned out to be Kane.
Crazy to think. Anytime anybody in the wrestling business wants to think, "Oh, how am I going to get this gimmick over?" Just think that Glenn Jacobs still has a career after that. So if he can make it work, anybody can make it work.
That's right.
So I did want to mention, just because I have it in my notes here. So you didn't just work with pro wrestlers, obviously. It says here you would stand guard for music stars like Ray Charles, Aerosmith, Frank Sinatra, Prince, Barbara Mandrell, and even Milli Vanilli. And I wanted to ask, since you've had a bit of look in, who are worse, wrestling fans or music fans?
Who are worse?
Yes. Just be honest. We're brutally honest on this show.
Yeah, you're talking apples and oranges. The wrestling fans are, "My God, he's got a chain!" The music fans are just smoking a joint and having a good time, for lack of a better term. As I ran security at Louisville Gardens, though, I did have the opportunity to meet a lot of stars. There was a gentleman that was, Louisville Gardens was the kind of place that you would come to if you were going up the ladder or you were coming down the ladder of your career, because we held about 6,000 people. If you were at the top of the ladder, you were going to Broadbent Arena for 25,000 people. This gentleman was on his way down the ladder. He was towards the end of his career, and he was having a sore throat that day, and he wanted the doctor to come in and maybe give him a little shot of Novocaine down his throat. And so I went back with him. we went into this little room, and Dr. Greathouse looked down his throat and gave him a little shot of Novocaine, and he thanked the doctor so much. And as we were leaving, Dr. Greathouse says, I really don't have any clue how this guy can sing at all. He doesn't have any vocal cords. And that was Frank Sinatra.
Unbelievable. And he still sang, I'm assuming.
He had a trick of doing it. But I sold a gun to Steven Tyler of Aerosmith. I was a bodyguard for a Derby weekend for Barbara Mandrell, who's the Reba McEntire of her day. I've had a lot of thrills.
Well, okay, so if we're able to, can we unpack that last statement? So you sold a gun to Steven Tyler?
Well, Steven was really big into guns like Ted Nugent. I had a steak dinner one night with Ted Nugent, and all he wanted to do was take a look at my 44. But I'm working in the Louisville Gardens, and it was an Aerosmith concert, and I walk into the back room, and Tyler and the bass player and the drummer were sitting back there, and Tyler said, "Oh, well, what kind of gun you got?" And they had just come out with a new style of 9mm that was kind of aluminum on the bottom and steel on the top. And I showed it to him. He went crazy for it. And he said, "How much do you want for it?" And I paid like $150 for it. I said, $300. And he said, give me $300 in cash. I said, "Can't give it to you till the end of the night." So at the end of the night, I walked out to the bus, and his agent came up to me and handed me three $100 bills, and I handed him the gun, and I went home and called my buddy and said, "Order me another gun."
Order me two.
John, we're getting away from wrestling and talking about cop stuff.
Hey, the cop stuff is fun. Just like Dr. D's book, all the bounty hunting stories were so great. But Dean's had some adventures in the Louisville police force, and with just a number of incidents over the years. He just happened to be in the thick of things. Was in the right place at the right time too. His signature is on the inside of that giant Louisville Slugger bat downtown Louisville. That's out in front of the museum. Just because he happened to be there when they were trying to haul it down and saw they needed some assistance, and got him all the way down there. And they said, hey, sign your name inside the bat as well. So he certainly left his mark all over the city. It's not just about the wrestling with him. And he was. You were the voice of Louisville Gardens there at the end too, when people walked in and heard the announcements, as I recall.
It was an honor. I was with USWA at Louisville Gardens they were there for about 8 years until they ended up going out of business. Matter of fact, I became very, very close to being Lance Russell's partner on USWA TV. Dave Brown's daughter had been involved in someone, I believe, had hit her in a DUI accident, if I'm remembering that correctly. Correct me if I'm not remembering correctly, John. And they had brought in a guy to help save the business, and they didn't realize he was a bit of a con artist. I don't recall his name, but he said, "I want you to be Lance Russell's partner on TV. Can you be in Memphis this coming weekend?" And I wasn't. I played music as well in a band, and we had a concert that weekend. I said, "I can't be here this weekend, but I can be there next weekend." So I did my concert that weekend, and I came down to Louisville Gardens on the Tuesday night after it. The Tuesday night before, I was supposed to be Lance Russell's partner in Memphis, and Louisville Gardens was locked up. USWA went out of business because the guy had done the old Steve Miller song, "Go on, take the money and run."
Dishonesty in the wrestling business, right? I mean, who would have thought?
Yeah. Can't think of how many times it's probably happened, right? So I guess if I could shift gears here so I don't leave John out, I wanted to take the opportunity. So as the writer of this, how do you decide between, what's the process when you're making something like this? How do you choose between, a career like Dean's? I mean, there has to be so many stories that eventually it's like, oh gosh, how do we fit everything in here? What were some of the more standout things that you kept in the book?
Well, I mean, we wanted to tell his whole story. It's not it's not just about the wrestling. That people have a life before and sometimes after wrestling as well, and that's the same with anybody that we work with. So, but Dean and I had actually got to know each other back when I was working on my first book, Bluegrass Brawlers, when I put out the first edition, telling the history of wrestling in Louisville. And we kept in touch over the years. Would run into each other occasionally at OVW. Of course, he was at OVW 1000. Was it 1000 or 1200? They did down at it was 1,000. I think that they did down at
OVW.
Yeah,
1100.
It was 1100. Okay, yeah. No, but I'm sorry. Which episode was it where they did the 4th Street show? Was that 1,000?
That was, gosh, I'm not sure. It was after, right there towards the end. Okay. I can't tell you exactly.
Okay, yeah, I'm not sure. So we would run into
when
each other.
When you 1100, they blend together.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it was actually just kind of he put a comment on something. I had a book coming out, and he put a comment underneath it, said, "When are you going to write my book?" And I said, "I'll write your book if you want." And just for the opportunity to have some, a record for his grandkids and his family and posterity, and honestly, the Louisville fans have embraced it as well. They've been excited to read the stories and to learn what he did with LMPD, how he got into the business, and he's got a lot of great stories about working with the Memphis guys, getting in the ring with the Bushwhackers back when they were the sheep herders, and just a lot of adventures. I did write and we're having to sit on it right now just due to some different things and stuff. Jesse Goddard's got on a reality show last year, so we weren't able to put his autobiography out. We literally right before we were going to launch it, we had to put it on hold. But there are 2 sets of people that I have written autobiographies about, individuals that had a feud with each other in the ring. One of them being Tracy Smothers and Chris Candido, and the other being Dean Hill and Jesse Goddard. And of course, the story of him and Jesse Goddard and Jesse and it was that's right. It was the bunny suit. It was the pink nightmare suit from A Christmas Story, which oddly enough belonged to Al Snow when they had that fantastic match together. So,
well, now I want to hear this. What's the story? I mean, I'm not trying to shift gears here. Obviously, you guys are our guests here.
Sure.
I'm wondering what the deal with Al Snow owning a bunny suit is.
I don't know the deal with the bunny suit, but I mean, Dean can certainly tell you about that match and how that went down with him and Jesse. It was really kind of a challenge from Al to Jesse, because I mean Jesse's he's one of the most fit individuals on the planet. He's Mr. Spectacular, and he was wanting to push Jesse to show a different side of him with this feud with Dean. And Dean, I'll let you tell the story about the match, but the 2 of them had been feuding, and it came down to the 2 of them having a confrontation in the ring, which was very it's on YouTube. It's very memorable, and it's classic Jesse, and it was and Dean just played it wonderfully. It was great.
Well, it was, I think, if I remember correctly, because it's been a few years ago, it came down to, I could whip you in any way, shape, or form. I could whip you wearing a Easter bunny suit. And it was like, okay, you're on. And so that's kind of how that came around, if I'm remembering it correctly. And so Jesse comes out to the ring in if I remember correctly again, a pink and white bunny suit, the full 9 yards from the top to the bottom, except for his boots. And I was wearing a coat and tie. And I got into the ring and slowly took off my wristwatch and handed it to somebody, and slowly took off my jacket and handed it to somebody. And one thing kind of led to another. And Jesse's basically going, "You don't need to do this. You don't need to do this, Dean. You don't want to do this. Don't step closer. You're stepping closer." And I take another step and goes, "Dean, stop right now. Don't you take another step. Dean, you're taking another step." And it came down to one of those little things. And he made the wrong move at the wrong time. And I kind of dropped to one knee and rang the bell, if you will say. And he went down, and 1, 2, 3, and that's how it went.
The rest is history.
Say what the bunny suit. I'll say there's a whimsical side to Al Snow. I don't know Al personally very well. We've met a couple of times, but I hear these great stories. And just as a quick diversion, I did just do a book about the Grindhouse Pro Wrestling Academy in Jeffersonville. and the ring announcer is a lady named Mercy Kelly who trained at OVW. And she was talking about the first time she ever had to. She was brand new to ring announcing. They were setting up a steel cage, and it was taking way longer than it needed to. She's 19, 20 years old, and she's not sure what to do, and she's freaking out. She's got the earpiece and everything, and Al's telling her, just keep talking, and everything like that. And she's on the verge of tears, and all of a sudden she starts hearing Al Snow over this earpiece singing to her, soft kitty, warm kitty.
Little ball of fur.
I can't think of anything that would calm me down in a moment like that, like Al Snow singing soft kitty, warm kitty. So I'm sure that definitely went a ways for her.
I would, I haven't ever said this to him, but I've said it a couple of places. I would listen to Al Snow read any book on the planet on a book on tape. I would just, I enjoy hearing his voice and can imagine, it was the best of times. It was the worst of times. I don't care what book it was. Al Snow would be, I love hearing him tell stories. I love that voice. And he can be a great books on tape author. I'll just say that. So he's a little busy though. Herb Simmons.
Yep. I was going to say, shout out to Herb Simmons out in the comments.
Good to hear from Herb.
We got some from our resident night owl. He says,
"This
is amazing. What an interview. I appreciate it. I try." We met Al Snow. I can't. Who Haas? I can't. It says HU. I think you're muted, Haas. Still can't hear you.
He's still muted.
Uh-oh. There we go.
How about now? I got too many mute buttons here. But she's actually saying that her and I got to meet Al Snow one time. And she actually says hello to you, Mr. Cosper, because she was also with me at the blood matches in West Virginia. And she's actually the one that fought with Jake Christ all night that actually – at the end, I don't know if you remember, they actually said that security was going to come out with him because of some stuff that had happened throughout the night, which what had happened throughout the night was arguments between him and her. And when he came out, he actually smacked the security guard with the kendo stick. And I later found out that he told the security guard before he walked out, he pointed to her and said, "That's the mark."
I thought you were going to say he slapped Sister Haas for a minute. I was going to get concerned.
He acted like he was going to. He pulled the kendo stick back and started it.
Let me tell you about that.
Let
me tell you about that show in West Virginia. What I learned, there are two places where I sell books one after another, hand over fist. And the two places will be somewhere like Waterloo, Iowa with the Hall of Fame, or the Cauliflower Alley Club out in Vegas, or a deathmatch show. Deathmatch fans buy books. It's crazy. So it's Herb, thank you so much. That's really nice of you.
So
I've been saying to you, Herb, I need to come out and see one of your shows out there in St. Louis sometime soon. So Herb, man, he has a great show out there.
So definitely, if you're enjoying the stories that you're hearing here with Dean Hill and John Cosper, you definitely want to make sure you check out the book. It's called "See You at Ringside: A Life of Rock and Roll and Wrestling." And actually, I believe I have the cover here. Oh, there it is.
There we go.
So
we'll make it work.
Definitely want to check that out. See You at Ringside, a life of rock and roll and wrestling, because there are plenty of stories in there.
Wait, if we can hold that back up real quick.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
Yep.
I'm gonna get my copy.
I believe it's available on Amazon. I know it's available on EatSleepWrestling.com.
Yes, sir. EatSleepWrestle.com. Yep.
So
it's such an honor.
And you have done so many different things. I see that you've been. You're a motorcycle enthusiast. You have announced for several different places. Retired police officer, as I said earlier. which, thank you for. I'm actually a former firefighter myself, so as a first responder, I know a lot of the things that you go through. And it says that you also have been a wedding officiant. So, you've been through a lot of different things. And I know the police officer kind of lended to getting you into the wrestling business, but have any of your other endeavors that you've been in, have they lent to the wrestling business at all as well?
No, mostly it was just my connection with Louisville Gardens. That's how I got into the wrestling business. But I've been blessed and done some other wild and crazy things. I've delivered a baby. I've stood on top of the Kennedy Bridge. I've been sideways in a what's called the Grinstead Tunnel at 90 miles an hour. That'll wake you up. I guess I'm a motorcycle enthusiast. I've been on the road a couple of times with Al Snow. So his hair flies, and back then my mustache used to come straight out whenever we'd be on the road. That was the story I like to tell. But I was a police officer for 25 years. I was a bodyguard for a federal judge for 7 years. And now I got into entertaining in senior homes. I entertain in 20 different senior homes in the Louisville area. And I am a DJ, an MC, and a coordinator for one of the largest wedding venues in southern Indiana called Lakeside Reflections. And if need be, I'm the guy that says, "Dearly beloved and honored guests, we are gathered here today."
I think he was the Pope at one point too. It might have been just slipped in there.
He's played God in a couple of movies, so been the voice of God in a couple of movies. So
that was weird to know that I'm in a club that was belonged by George Burns and Morgan Freeman and just a couple of other people. That I went to interview for a buddy of mine. Got me an interview for a movie that was going on, and so I went in and I did my little interview part, and they said, "Oh, okay, you got that part, but we also want you to be the voice of God." So that was kind of odd,
Can we get Big Daddy P back on the show? I think he wants to hear this.
Johnny, listen to your mother, Johnny. This is the Lord. Listen to your mother.
All right, fine. I'll call her tomorrow. I saw her yesterday.
So John, I know that you've got this book out, and I know that several others that you have out. Diaries of a Madman. I actually have that one myself, as well as several others. You also just released or are getting ready to release, I'm not sure which, a couple of books I saw on your website earlier. So what do you have coming up on your releases on your books, or what have you just released?
Just released, we put out Best Hand in the House. It's the autobiography of legendary Larry D. I was there a year and a half ago when Larry had his retirement match. And I was there about 9 months ago, the first time he laced up his boots because he was coming back because he had a chance to wrestle Josh Alexander, because wrestlers don't retire. But Larry's a good guy down there in Central Kentucky. He's got his own training school, Legends Pro Wrestling Academy. I cannot speak highly enough of the kind of students that are coming out of that place that are learning from him. He's got two guys in particular right there, Jackie Thad and Kellen Craven. Keep an eye out for them. They are both outstanding young talents. Runs his own promotion as well, Generation Next Wrestling, and really has a good thing going down there. It's Cynthiana, Kentucky, Paris, Kentucky, Georgetown, Kentucky, kind of in that area. But Larry was with TNA for a brief time. He was very big with IWA Mid-South. He was part of Rockstar Pro. Big part of the Kentucky wrestling scene for a very long time. Just kind of telling his life story about his family and how he grew up, how he got into wrestling. Very honest, very raw, kind of just a story about his particular life. The other one just came out as well. It just so happened that they finished up at the same time and went ahead and released them both at the same time. It's called We Are Grindhouse, and it is a 1 year in the life of a pro wrestling school. the Grindhouse Pro Wrestling Academy. They train out of the arena in Jeffersonville. If you watch the Netflix documentary Wrestlers, it's that other arena that you saw a couple times with the lucha masks on the wall. That's where they interviewed Ronnie Roberts, and they just had some footage of Haley J over there as well. Ronnie's actually the lead trainer over there. Too Tough Tony is the owner. And the big boss over there, Mitchell Huff, an OVW alumni, is also a trainer there. But I spent a year just going behind the scenes, going to classes, being backstage in the locker rooms, going to the shows, doing some of the extra things that were happening, and following and getting to know, 40, 50 plus wrestlers, a lot of young kids. I saw guys taking their very first bumps, which reinforced the fact that I will never, ever get in the ring and take a first bump. I got to watch some outstanding talent. You guys may have heard of the lovely Miss Larkin. She's just now really starting to make her mark at OVW, as she does everywhere. She is one of the most dynamic characters I've ever seen in pro wrestling. Ethan Hires a guy who's he's one of the smallest wrestlers you'll ever see on a roster. Everything he does is big. It's larger than life. Just a really outstanding talent. A kid named Dallas Edwards, who's going to have a very long career. He's one of the best referees going right now. But just I got to know a whole lot of kids and with a whole lot of potential. It was really just interesting, just to sit in classes, to listen to Ronnie talk, to hear his philosophy on things and see what he reinforced time after time. I did make some side trips as well to Larry D's school, as well as to Bobby Blaze's school out in Ashley, just to kind of get a contrast and, just to see how other schools and how other teachers did it. But it's a really fascinating look, just behind the scenes. It's a chance maybe to see, get to know a couple of kids who are on their way up. There's a couple of them there at Grindhouse that have potential to make a splash on the indie scene, if not, on the larger wrestling picture down the road. So, Larry D's autobiography, We Are Grindhouse, and Dean Hill's book, See You at Ringside. All three are available at eatsleepwrestle.com. Dean's books are signed by Dean. Larry D's books are signed by Larry D. All three books are signed by myself if you buy them through my website. You can find them on Amazon along with all my other books, but, come support an indie wrestler, come support an indie publisher, and come to my website.
And let me say this about John. He doesn't do anything half-assed. He studies everything. He puts his heart into it. If you have the honor of having John write your story, that should be one of the biggest thrills of your life. He flat knows what he's doing. And ladies and gentlemen, if it's my book or if it's anybody's book, it's a quality read. John Cosper is the real deal.
Thank you, Dean. Thank you. Means a lot.
He gave me $50 to say that.
well worth the money. So
definitely, like I say, I know I have Diary of the Madman. I believe I have at least one other book. Right off the top of my head, I don't remember which one it is because I've had it for a little while and it's been a little bit since I read it. But I do know that from the ones that I've read, they are quality writings, and you can tell that you really do take the time to research it, and you want to do them justice, and you really do a good job of doing them justice. So
thank you. I appreciate that. I will say I've got I've got a number of things lined up next couple, kind of mapped out the next couple of years of projects, but without dropping names, there are three ladies, actually from the more recent era, really all three of them independents, but stories that are fascinating and outstanding that they'll be partnering with over the next year to get their stories out. I'm looking to do more historical biographies of some of the Golden Age ladies as well. I've already done Jude Byers, Elvira Snodgrass, and Mars Bennett, which are all on my website, but there's more of those to come down the road. And speaking of Madman Pondo, we've actually got a little project coming along soon. It's going to come out on my other website, which is Dead Park Books. That's the site where I do the Dead Park Horror series and some other fiction things and stuff. But this Pondo book kind of fits more in that vibe than it does with the wrestling. And that'll be coming out this summer.
Definitely have to be looking for that, and we'll make sure that the information on that book as it becomes available is shared on the Wrestle Talk page, so that all of our Wrestle Talk family can be sure to pick that up as well. So,
and the people that John wrote about that was in the movie Queen of the Ring.
True. Yeah. Say, well, first of all, Dean's in the movie. Dean's the ring announcer there at the end with the Mildred Burke June Byers match. We see you. We get to hear you're sitting right there at the table next to Martin Cove and Jim Cornette. And shout out to this OVW senior official Daniel Spencer sitting at the table as well. But Elvira Snodgrass was in the Queen of the Ring movie. June Byers, obviously. The villain, whatever. She wasn't a villain. She had a whole lot more in common with Mildred Burke, but it's a movie, so whatever. And the Black Panther, Jim Mitchell, made the movie too. I've gotten to know Colleen Greenaway, who played him in the movie, has become a friend and very much a Black Panther, Jim Mitchell enthusiast. Let me tell you, 2:30 in the morning in the Henry Clay building, downtown Louisville with my kids. It's been a long night of working as extras. They film all the wrestlers making their entrances, and the very last one, bursting through the curtain, ripping off the robe, and marching to the ring to kick Gorgeous George's butt. Colleen Greenaway as the Black Panther was one of the big thrills that I've had in wrestling. My daughter turns to me. She's like, "Are you okay?" It's like, "Yeah, I just need a minute. It'll be all right." They weren't able to do a second take of all these entrances because the fire alarm went off. We all had to go downstairs. They finally said, "Okay, everybody go home." But that was quite a thrill seeing him brought to life, and Elvira on screen as well as June Byers and Camille. Can't thank Camille enough. She wrote the foreword for the book, and we got a great photo actually right at the front of the June Byers book of Camille in her June Byers costume from that final scene with a lady named Kay Parker, who just happens to be June Byers' granddaughter. Flew up from Texas, spent an entire week in the middle of blazing hot summer at Actors Theater every night for God knows however many hours you guys were there, Dean. But is in the crowd watching that Mildred Burke June Byers match at the end. So did you get a chance to meet her, Dean?
Sorry?
Did you get a chance to meet June Byers' granddaughter?
No. I may have met her. I just didn't realize that's who it was.
Yeah, she was in town for a whole week, and I didn't get a chance to meet her either. I don't remember what I was doing or what I was just starting a new job, and I was nervous about taking any time away from it. Was probably the main thing. So
the biggest thing I know about the movie is I started at 3 p.m. and I got home at 4 a.m, 4 days in a row.
That's how that's how he ran. That's how he ran it. But no, it turned out great. If you haven't seen the movie, obviously it's a movie. There's a lot of things that are fictionalized, a lot of characters condensed into one. And certain, I could nitpick on the things that are not correct, including, they just slapped the name Elvira on a wrestler. It's not actually Elvira's story that you see in the movie, but it's Mildred Burke's story, and it's Mildred Burke's story extremely well told. It's a very, relevant. It's a very, it's a fantastic story, and it's very, very well told. I was really happy how it turned out.
So I know we don't want to give away too many of your stories, especially the ones that are in the book. But when I was researching it, I know it said that it talks about your time as a police officer as well, and it mentions the police chases across the Ohio River Bridge. So as a officer, what's one of the craziest things that you ever had to handle as a police officer?
Oh God, one thing. Well, my goodness. You talked about the chase, the one in particular chase. It was probably the longest one I was ever in. I'll tell you this story before I need to get off of here. There was a couple of guys that I was just leaving from locking someone up, and one of the other officers was driving in the inner city, and he said, "I got a car that just ran a red light in front of me," and he starts to get up there and try to pull the car over, and the guy ran the next red light, and he was going north towards the 2nd Street Bridge, which goes over from Louisville over into Indiana. And he said he hit the next red light as well, radio, and they were in full police pursuit. So I was just a few blocks away, so I went that way as well. And there was a couple of officers that were coming down Main Street. Well, they went that way as well. And I had a Dodge 440 Polara that was for lack of a better term, a pretty badass car, and it was fast. And as we were going across the 2nd Street Bridge, they got information back that the reason this guy was running was because he was wanted on a warrant for raping a child. And so he went across the 2nd Street Bridge, and he went over through an area in southern Indiana where it was a long stretch, and he was flying. He was doing about 100 and something, and the first car that was behind him was behind that guy. The other officers were behind the first officer, and I was third, but I was in that 440 Polara. So I'm flying down through there, and I caught the second police car, and I passed him. I caught the first police car, and I passed him. I caught the bad guy, and I passed him. And I got in front of him, and I started kind of waving back and forth, trying to get him to slow down. But he scooted behind me, and he came over, and he hit the side of my police car. Well, he dreamed back, and he came again, and I hit the brakes, and he flied across in front of me, went through the median in between the 2 northbound lanes and the 2 southbound lanes. And so he was over there doing 100 miles an hour, going northbound in the southbound lanes at 3 o'clock in the morning, so there wasn't any other traffic around. He got up to a certain spot, and he made a left-hand turn on a side road, so I made the left-hand turn on the side road, and the other 2 officers were following me, and he went over this little rise in the road. As he came down at the other side, I was coming over the rise in the road, and he was gone. And I looked for a second, and he'd gone sideways off the road, and the car stuck between 2 trees. Well, I made a really hard left-hand turn because it was like a 90-degree turn right there, and I spun the car out and didn't hit a damn thing, but came to a stop. But I was down about 50, 60 feet farther away from him then. Well, officer number 1 came up and stopped. Officer number 2 of them came up and stopped, and then I get out of the car. Well, this guy jumps out the passenger side of his car and takes off running through this field. Officer number 1 was following the guy with his flashlight, 3 o'clock in the morning. Officers number 2, there was 2 of them there, they were following officer number 1's flashlight. Officer number 3, which was me, I'm following officer number 2's flashlight. And officer number 1 says, I'm following this guy, I'm chasing him through this field, and all of a sudden, he falls down. I think, I got you now, you dog. And the guy jumps up and he keeps running. Well, cops number 2 and 3 see cop number 1, and all of a sudden, cop number 1 falls down. And he jumps back up and he takes off running. And I'm going, what in the world's going on? Well, cops number 2 and 3 fall down. What the hell? So they get up and they take off running. So I'm chasing number 2 and number 3, and all of a sudden, I fall down. Through that field, there was a creek that had lost a lot of its water, and it was basically just mud. And all of us were in police uniforms that were dry cleaned on the back and solid mud on the front. And so we're still chasing this guy, and all of a sudden you hear the sound. It sounds like a baseball bat hits a watermelon. And they stopped and they look, and he had ran face first into a corral fence post. And he laid down his back, and he starts trying to crawl underneath of the board on his back on the ground. And officer number 1 leans in between the fence post and sticks a gun on his nose and said, "You're under arrest." And we pulled him out and handcuffed him and took him to jail. That whole chase took about 15 minutes, but it felt like it took an hour.
That's unbelievable.
That's why you don't just focus on wrestling stories with these. Some of these stories are just,
I'll say, man, that's.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one more quick story before I got to go. You got time?
Yeah, absolutely. Please.
Go.
Okay. I mentioned to you that if you're on your way up the ladder, you come to Louisville Gardens. And this young man was on his way up the ladder. He had just put his first album out, and he was at Louisville Gardens. And he had hired the vice president of the New York motorcycle gang as his security supervisor. So when he comes up there and I'm talking to him, and he says, I want this, I want this, I want you to put somebody there for that, I want you to put somebody on the back door. And he stands there on that back door the entire night. If somebody walks out that door, he closes it. If somebody knocks on that door, he doesn't open it for anybody. He just lets people go out the door and shut the door behind him. So that's what we did, a little 16-year-old usher for Andy Frame. And so I get a call about an hour later. You need to come to the back because this security supervisor for this artist is ripping this kid's rear end. So I go back there and he's tearing this poor kid. The kid's almost crying. I put my hand in his chest. I'm moving back the kid. I step in front of him. I said, he doesn't get paid to get yelled at. I do. What's the problem? I wanted this and I wanted that and blah, blah, blah. So I just let him go till he was done. I said, are you done? He goes, yeah. I said, you silly son, you told me that you blah, 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 blah. I told him exactly what he told us to do. And the producer was standing about 15 feet away. And he walks over, and this guy's name, I think, was Tony. And he walks over and he says, Tony, I want you to know that this officer is exactly right. He did exactly what you told him to do. And if you ever screw up like this again, you're fired. Now, this guy was on his way up the ladder. He just put out his first album, and he was standing in the alley behind Louisville Gardens with his guitar and couldn't get into his own concert because this guy told us not to answer the door. And his name was Prince. Close your mouth. True story.
Yep.
Wow. Unbelievable. That's real genuine reaction on my face.
Wow. Listen, guys, I need to tie up with you. I need to tie up with you. John can take it from here. I appreciate it. I have an obligation, but thank you so much for the honor of being on your podcast. I'm truly thrilled. And John is the real deal. Ladies and gentlemen, buy every one of his books.
So we really appreciate you. Like I said, we're sorry we were running so far behind, but we thank you for giving us the time that you were able to give us. And just before you go,
the stories too. I was going to say those are Wrestle Talk podcast exclusive now.
Can you just tell people where they can find you, or where they can find how to find out where they can see you, or what's coming next for you?
Nothing's coming next for me. I left the wrestling business. I live a single person's life in Louisville, Kentucky. 32 years in the world of professional wrestling was enough for me, and a lot more than a lot of people that were bigger than me in the wrestling business. I've led a blessed life, and the icing on top of the cake was this guy writing a book about my life, which I am and will forever be so honored. If you live in the Louisville, Kentucky area and you want me to perform your wedding ceremony, I'm happy to do that. But other than that, I'm pretty much out of the wrestling business, except for opportunities like this where I get to speak to some great people in regards to the world of professional wrestling.
Okay, well, we definitely thank you for being here, and we would want to welcome you to the Wrestle Talk podcast family, and just hopefully you'll come back and tell us some more stories sometime, because I feel like we're just beginning with the stories that you've got.
Well, I can't tell too many of them. They won't buy the book.
That's true.
Guys, thank you so much. It was my honor. John, take it away.
Good. Good to see you, Dean.
All right. Thank you, Dean.
Dean Hill, ladies and gentlemen.
So John, you've been with us before. You may remember that we have a segment that we call the Wrestle Talk Podcast World Famous Game Show Challenge.
Okay, I do recall.
And with our Game Show Challenge tonight, we have Gabriel Arsene, who tends to know a lot about the wrestling world, and he thinks he can take you on tonight in our Game Show Challenge. Are you game for the challenge?
Sure thing. Depending on what era and what topics we're talking about, we'll see how I do.
I got a feeling somebody slipped Haas a 50 as well.
So, all right, we got a little bit of music here for it. So let's go ahead and cue up that music real quick. Welcome to this week's installment of the world-famous Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge. Tonight's contest is scheduled for the best 2 out of 3 falls and features the owner of EatSleepWrestle.com, John Cosper, taking on the young lion with the old soul, Wrestle Talk Podcast's very own Gabriel Arsene. Tonight's Game Show Challenge category is the Hoosier. I will give you information on 3 different professional wrestlers who were born in the state of Indiana.
Okay.
When you think you know the answer, you just simply shout out the answer.
Colonel
If the answer is not correct, you may continue to shout out until you get the right answer. The first person to win 2 out of 3 falls will win tonight's Game Show Challenge. So, you understand how everything works?
Ready to go.
All right, Gabe, you ready?
I'm always ready.
All right. Question number 1. This wrestler was born in Hammond, Indiana. Over the course of his nearly 50-year career, he won the NWA and ECW World Heavyweight Championship.
Shane Douglas.
No. Along with his brother Dory, he is
Terry Funk.
Terry Funk.
Terry Funk is correct. John Cosper wins that fall. I heard him
As soon as I heard Dory, I knew who it was.
I'm thinking. See, my mind goes to Dory Senior because he went to IU and he trained under Billy Tom up there. So, but I actually wasn't aware those guys were born in Indiana. But okay.
So the score is 1-0 John Cosper. Question number 2. This wrestler has competed in countless promotions in her career. She is the inaugural ROH World Women's Television Champion. She was most recently eliminated from the Owen Hart Cup by Jamie Hayter.
So Billy Starks?
Billy Starks is correct.
Billy is actually from Louisville. She's not a Hoosier. She trained in Indiana.
Somebody better get fired for that.
You have to talk to Luke Roberts. He's the one who wrote the question.
Okay.
John, can you be our fact checker from now on?
It's all right. So
I feel like I trust your word.
I was watching Billy from the very. I was like, this sounds like Billy, but Billy's from Louisville.
So, all right. Well,
Alrighty.
2-0. So, John has officially already won the Game Show Challenge. But, just to see if Gabe can stay face here, let's throw out that third question and see if he can at least get one right tonight or if you'll sweep him. So, question number 3. This late WWE Hall of Famer moved from his birth town of Crawfordsville, Indiana, to parts unknown. He won the WWF World Championship by defeating Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 6. Undertaker is not correct.
Ultimate Warrior.
Ultimate Warrior is correct. So Gabe gets that question correct and is not swept tonight. So, However, John Cosper has won tonight's Game Show Challenge.
There it is. I'm waiting for it.
So congratulations,
just to drop some Hoosier trivia on you guys, there have been 4 pro wrestlers out of my high school alma mater. I dropped Colonel Stu Gibson's name earlier. He wrestled back in the 50s. Lesser known crybaby Chris Alexander wrestled at OVW. We were in marching band together. Shout out to him. I think he was the second Lord Humongous Jeff Van Camp back in the 1980s, also a New Albany High School alumni. And of course, 2-time NWA World Champion, former WWE Tag Champion Rob Conway as well, who was part of that outstanding 1990 New Albany High School basketball. He was, I think, 88 to 90, who was on the New Albany basketball team. So,
wow, very talented high school.
So I've got Stu in the New Albany High School Hall of Fame. I'm working on Jeff, and once I get Jeff in there, I'm going to get Rob in there as well. So, I mean, he's a 2-time NWA World Champion. What more qualifications do you need to be in your high school's alma mater than being a 2-time NWA World Champion? So,
right. What else does this man have to do?
Right.
Okay, well, so I know we pretty much, we've talked about Dean, and we've kind of talked about the book a little bit, but you want to give just your quick synopsis on what the book "See You at Ringside" is about with Dean, and where people can pick it up.
Absolutely. So, "See You at Ringside." That was Dean's catchphrase, going all the way back to his days when he was the announcer at Louisville Gardens for Memphis Wrestling. It stayed his catchphrase all the way through 1,100 episodes of OVW. This is the autobiography of, he's a Louisville legend. He was a hero cop. He's way too humble to admit it, but he quite a few heroic actions. You guys heard the exciting police chase story. He's got a story about a building that was on fire that's pretty hair-raising. A number of things that happened while he was on the police force. We didn't even get into his music. I mean, he plays multiple instruments. He's played in multiple bands around town, and he's very, very proud of that. He's got a collage of all the badges, the backstage passes that he had at Louisville Gardens, and the one he'll point out is always Milli Vanilli. It's kind of funny. But yeah, this is Dean's story. It's about his life growing up in Louisville. It's about his life as a police officer. It's about his life in music, and it's about his time with Memphis Wrestling as well as OVW Wrestling. He's got a lot of great stories about wrestling. He's got a lot of great stories about other things as well. It is called "See You at Ringside." It's available on Amazon. I'd rather you come to my website, though, eatsleepwrestle.com. I did just released the Larry D autobiography. I've got We Are Grindhouse. I've got 2 books on the history of wrestling in Louisville, Bluegrass Brawlers and Louisville's Greatest Show. Dean's in the first one, Bluegrass Brawlers. He's not Louisville's Greatest Show. That one takes place from 1935 to 1957, so he was not involved. However, the guy who trained him in hand-to-hand combat in the 1970s, Sergeant Buck Moore, he is in that book, which is kind of crazy. He wrestled in the 1950s. I've also got autobiographies of Princess Victoria, of Tracy Smothers, of Man Pondo, and I wrote biographies on Wahoo McDaniel and Chris Candido. I've got Golden Age biographies as well, Jude Byers, Elvira Snodgrass, Mars Bennett, the Black Panther, Jim Mitchell. They're all at eatsleepwrestle.com. And since I mentioned it earlier, I'll mention it again. Deadparkbooks.com is where you can find my fiction. And that is where you will find the new Man Prondo project, which I am shooting to get out this summer. So eatsleepwrestle.com and deadparkbooks.com. Come check them out. And please support local authors, support independent artists, support independent authors. Come buy direct from me instead of going to Amazon.
Okay. Definitely
Sounds
gonna.
like we got a show.
Definitely gonna have to try to pick up the "See You at Ringside," and I'm definitely gonna have to check out the new one with Madman Pondo as well. Like I say, I've read his biography that you wrote, and like I said earlier, I've met both you and him, so I know it's gonna be an absolute thriller book to sit and read, and look forwards to reading that. So, and we've told them about eatsleepwrestle.com, but where all can our fans find information about you and other books that you wrote besides eatsleepwrestle.com?
Let's say deadparkbooks.com is my other website. That's where I've got a horror series. It started just one book called Dead Park Plaza. It's a compilation of short horror stories that all take place in the same 4-story office building that's spawned into a series. There's 4 books now. There'll be a 5th book coming out probably around the same time as Pondo's book in this series. And it's all about this little community that was built on top of a military base where some very strange otherworldly things were happening. And if you like horror, you'll mix with a little bit of comedy. If you like some gore, if you like cryptids, vampires, zombies, it's all mixed in this whole world of Dead Park. I do have a couple other books on there. There's a great one called The Big Bad Good Night. It's kind of a mashup of fairy tales and classic noir film type stories. You know, if you like The Maltese Falcon and The Big Sleep and Key Largo and things like that. Imagine, you know, the best one in there is my version of Three Little Pigs, which is a mashup with Cape Fear. But Goldilocks is cast in the role of Robert Mitchum, the evil stalker. So just a number of just fun things on there. I've got a spy thriller on there. I've got some sci-fi as well. That's all at deadparkbooks.com. EatSleepWrestle.com is where my wrestling stuff is. You can find both Eat Sleep Wrestle and Dead Park on Facebook. You can find both of them on Instagram. I think I have separate accounts for each one. I think it's Eat Sleep Wrestle Books and Dead Park Books. And then I'm on Twitter. I don't call it the other thing. It's still Twitter to me at John Cosper. Yeah, you can find me on the social medias. You can find links to all my social medias on the websites as well. Again, it's EatSleepWrestle.com and DeadParkBooks.com.
All right. Well, we definitely thank you for coming on tonight. It's always a pleasure to get to speak with you. Gabe, you have anything closing here?
Moving out of your place, because just everything you mentioned sounds awesome. So I wonder where you get your inspiration from. But no, I guess just to take the opportunity to just say thank you, man. I mean, you know, as the young lion with the old soul, I always like to give it up to the people who, you know, were in this business before me. And in any aspect of it, you know, whether it's, you know, actually wrestling, being an announcer, whether it's writing for wrestling, all these things are what makes this company and this, you know, this business thrive. And I feel like I can always learn from all these opportunities and I can gain something from it. So, you know, from the bottom of my heart, man, thank you. I really do appreciate taking the time out of your day.
It's my pleasure. It's always good to come on and talk with you guys here.
All right. Well, we'll definitely have you back again. We look forward to getting to speak with you again. And, just thank you for being here. And once again, we're sorry that we did run so far behind tonight, but we're just happy to have you here.
Yeah, I'm always happy to have it. It gave me some extra time talking to Black Diamond Entertainment earlier tonight. So
worked out.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, John Cosper from EatSleepWrestle.com and Dead Park Books. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Gabe, another night in the books, sir.
It's crazy to think that with as technically not sound as this night has been, we made it work as well as we did, John. This is how you can tell we've been doing this long enough, because we don't need is water off a duck's back with us. Okay, we turned all of that into the show that we did. I mean, even at look at this, man. We're running 2 hours and a half right now. That's how much wrestling content we had here tonight. We had the FWWC segment. We had Big Daddy P, you know, giving us the snippets of truth. Renee Martinez, our new partnership with WDWA, John Cosper, and
just
a phenomenal police story. I just got to say, from Dean Hill, that I'm just glad that we can have here on the show tonight, man. It was great. And your belt is I'm still getting over that. All right. That thing's awesome. So
that
WrestleMania is right around the corner,
nice,
dude.
though.
I mean, I can't wait for the next show is where I'm at.
Just whatever you do, don't think that you're going to lose yours so that you can come after mine, because it's not going to happen.
Oh, I see. All right. You're that confident, sir?
See, I'm already thinking past Jason Curtis, you know, hey.
I may just make you eat those words, but you know what? We'll wait till after Universe Mania before we talk about that. But other than that, I think we did a phenomenal job, man. As always. Was there anything you wanted to leave us with before we head out, dude?
But, you know, as always with you and I, we've gone over time, you know, 2.5 hours, almost 2 hours and 40 minutes, you know, but and we just barely scratched the surface on so much stuff. We didn't even talk about WrestleMania. I mean, WrestleMania is coming up this weekend, and we didn't even get into it. I tell you, there's just so much stuff.
I think with
we
as
could have
much
had a
stuff as going to
4-hour
happen
show.
at Mania, I think with as much stuff as Mania is going to happen, I think we got to save that for the next show. I think that's where everybody needs to really catch us on is the next one, because we got a lot to talk about.
Well, and as I say, the next one is going to be a special WrestleMania show, basically like a WrestleMania rewind, where we're just going to sit around and talk WrestleMania. We're going to have some special guests come on and talk WrestleMania with us. And, you know, who knows? We don't even know what hosts are actually showing up. I know I'm going to be there. Luke Skywalker Roberts is supposed to be there. I believe Nightmare Joe Lance has said he may pop in. Of course, you're more than welcome to pop in too, because anybody can pop in. If the fans have a strong enough take, we might even bring some of them on to talk WrestleMania. You never know what's going to happen. But one thing I do want to throw out is I apologize, as well as Gavin happened to catch this after he went off, and he apologizes as well. We said that Evolve would start on, I believe we put up there the 9th, but it's actually the 6th, because it's the first Tuesday in May. So it's May 6th. We will be starting with Evolve, the WDWA podcast with myself and Gavin, and you never know who's going to make appearances there as well. So be sure to tune into that May 6th. But before we get out of here, we got to hit those sponsors one more time, because we definitely would not be here without the sponsors and the fans. And there's just so many people that make this possible. So let's go ahead and hit those sponsors one more time. You know, as always, we want to thank Retro Zone and Painter Dream Productions. That's the one and only Big Daddy P. You saw him in here earlier. And Independent St. Louis Hall of Fame, who will be inducting our very own Luke Skywalker Roberts into the Hall of Fame. You know, so excited for him for that. Interstate 70 Sports Media, that's Jeremy Karp and the guys over there. They are absolutely killing it. Be sure to check out their podcast every Wednesday night. They really have some good takes on all kinds of sports. Little Popeyes Designs, where you can get your very own Wrestle Talk podcast tumbler. Just $20 for the tumbler, an extra $5 if you want your name on it. Shipping and handling. Be sure to catch one of the somebody from Wrestle Talk, you know, myself, Night Owl, Gabe, any of us. We'll be glad to get you all set up with a tumbler. The FWWC, the world's premier fantasy wrestling group. That's right. Be sure to check us out there. We're getting ready to go on a little bit of a hiatus right after Universe Mania, but during that hiatus, we're definitely still going to be recruiting, so check us out. Join us. If you have ever had a dream of being a professional wrestler, but you just can't get in the ring for whatever reason, I know, like myself, I have problems with my back and my hips, my legs. I'm just falling apart, but I can live my dream in the FWWC. So be sure to check them out. And our newest partnership, WDWA, check us out, Elevation. It's going to be May 6th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central. You know, it's going to be a good time, just as good a time as what we have here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. And it'll bring you quality programming each and every week, because one week you'll have Wrestle Talk podcast. The next week you're going to have Elevation. And there will be so much to cover on that as well. You know, just like this week, WDWA coming off of a heck of a show, the Holy Grail Tournament. And you can go to our Facebook page, catch a lot of pictures and updates from that. And check out their Facebook page and check out their show Frontline on Thursday nights on YouTube, and you'll be able to see all that great action. But Gabe, I think that's about it. And fan sponsorships too. We got fan sponsorships. Be sure to hit one of us up if you want to know more about that. Right now, Susie Haas is the only fan sponsor we got, but we'd love to have more. And send us stars through Facebook. Be sure to share. Be sure to like the page. Be sure to do all that good stuff. And remember, #Let's Talk Wrestling. So, Gabe, I think that's it. I think we've hit everything now.
I'd say we did. That's another episode of the Wrestle Talk podcast in the book, John Haas.
So, for Gabriel Arsene, for the Night Owl, for Luke Skywalker Roberts, Jeremy Carp, and all of the Wrestle Talk podcast team, I'm Hardcore Haas. He's Gabriel Arsene. Yeah, over there. And we'll see you on the next show in 2 weeks. Have a great night, and thanks for being here.